Hello, everybody, and welcome to day number 2 of the PMPL qualifiers. I am HitBrain once again, and I am joined by the wonderful Monica. Monica, we had some amazing games yesterday. We had a 1v4, we had lots of action, we had lots of hype.
Yep.
You excited for today?
Well, yeah, the 1v4 was definitely I mean it's bound to happen. I think like every tournament, somebody or multiple people will have that kind of 1 versus 4, but it's always pretty like shocking every time you watch it and experience it like the first time. So I was able to talk to Cyox yesterday about it. It was just really cool to kind of get his kind of insight. And I asked him like what were your teammates' reactions to it, and they're like, well, like my teammates saw them kind of just pushing, like Doom was pushing kind of one by one, and then they're really confident in Cyox's gun skills, and like he just had it in a bag sort of thing. But his teams are really hyped, really happy right afterwards. But yeah, for the rest of these teams, just kind of to wrap up what happened yesterday, we saw a dominating performance by Panda, the one and only, I believe, Chinese team in the West EU PMPL qualifiers, and then a lot of teams also still vying for that. It's not quite secure that first place. We still have a team or a couple right afterwards then that are still pretty close in points. But again, top 8, that's all you need to get into PUBG Mobile Pro League.
It is all about making that top 8, and it feels like, especially after the last 2 games yesterday, everything kind of got shuffled up a little bit, and we brought up a few of these teams from the bottom. So everything going in today is pretty competitive. There are a few front runners who are pretty far ahead, and if they have another really good day, I think it would be impossible for them not to make top 8 at the least. Teams like Panda, I think if they have another day just like they did today, I don't think they can actually drop out at that point without like a horrific day 3. But for the most part, we've still got this whole tournament fairly close, and we'll talk about the points and everything in a moment. For now, let's have a little look at the format and see how everything is going to be playing out here at the qualifiers, day number 2. Obviously, the 16 teams are playing over 3 days. We're on to day number 2, 5 matches per day, and obviously, like you said, Monica, the top 8 teams will be advancing to PMPL 2022. Let's bring out the points and just see how the points are all calculated while we're at it, and then we can talk a little bit about that one. So this is the basic points distribution. Obviously, you get elimination points as well. And we saw some teams, Monica, yesterday, like Shockwave and the other team beginning with S, who I'm really sorry I forgot the name of. They just farmed points basically through eliminations, right?
Yeah, it was the which team was it? Yeah, it was the 3rd place team, which I believe was Storm Gaming. They were the only team in the top 5 that did not have like a top, or did not have like a winner chicken dinner, but just the kind of the really just I think it's just consistent placement points, and then also getting those really like high frag to placement point ratio. They were able to still get a lot of points, because PUBG Mobile, at the end of the day, it's a survival game, right? And it's where you have to get as many points as possible, but you don't necessarily need to play for the win. I mean that's definitely the easiest way to get more bang for your buck, right? Like, just win out the game, get a ton of kills, like Team Panda did that one game where they won and they got like 16 kills and had 31 total points. But it just being consistent across all the games and getting as many points as possible that's the name of the game.
Well, let's meet the teams who are playing. Obviously, if you're watching yesterday, you'll recognize some of these faces. We've got 16 teams playing here. LMV are a team at the front of the top of this list, but a team who everyone had high expectations for just because of how long this roster had been together, how much experience they were together, but they have had a lackluster performance. A couple other teams obviously jump out to us. Like you said, Panda sitting at the top right now. Storm have just been a storm. They've been getting so many kills. SWAT 69 have been an interesting one because they've always been in action constantly this whole time.
Yeah, we saw them in, I think it was Miramar, where they were kind of just stuck within San Martin forever, and just within the city, super late to the rotation. But yeah, that's the team that's kind of, I don't know if it's intentionally or not, but always seems to find themselves right in the middle of the action. But SWAT 69, yeah, they're definitely one of the teams that is going to be wanting to do a lot better today to hopefully get up in 8th place. So I believe we have I believe so. So this is 16 teams, right? So you really only need to shoot for the top 50% to be in that top 8. But I know a lot of these teams are like, yeah, but that's not really bragging rights. So like we placed 8th in PMPL EU qualifiers. Though we were still, I think the ones who are in top 8 now, they're feeling a little bit more secure, but they want to get a little bit higher for just safety reasons. But definitely like kind of like the top 5 is like, I want the bragging rights. I want to go for the first place, while everyone else who's in the bottom 8 is like, I'm still just trying to get up into the top 8. So that's what we're probably going to see today, as we see some teams kind of shift around, hopefully in the standings.
I think today is going to be very much for the top 8, looking to cement their position in the top 8. And then for obviously the bottom 8, it's about getting up. Let's take a look at the standings and see where all we are on the points right now between all of our teams, because there was a lot of games yesterday, 5 games. You can see Panda currently sitting at the top of 87 points. They've got 17 points over Shockwave, who are in second. Stormer in third. Clear Vision in fourth, who had a really big comeback. Another team who had a big comeback was RESQ as well. I think Clear and RESQ really caught me off guard because their start to the tournament yesterday, pretty lackluster, but they really kind of found their pace towards the end of the day. Any teams that are really surprising you right now, Monica?
I think that, I mean, okay, so Shockwave actually, when you kind of like break down game by game by game, so we have Shockwave, their average points per game ended up being about 14. So you're just taking that like 70 divided by 5, right? So they on average get 14 points per game, versus like some teams really down below, they're just kind of struggling to get 14 points across multiple games. Shockwave also really strong in terms of fragging power, 7.4 average kills or eliminations per game as well. But then we're looking at Panda, right? Like they're the ones that are averaging 17.4 points per game, 9.2 eliminations per game. And I think it's just really dominating performance from them. I think their quote unquote like worst game was the last game where they got 8th with 4 kills. But even so, that is like a good game for a team that may be a little bit lower in the standings from them. So it's just when we hype up a team, or when a team does so well and they just have kind of like a whatever performance, it looks bad in comparison to everything else. But Panda, they're always in like the top 8th or so with a lot of kills, versus like Shockwave, a little less consistent, because that Miramar match, they did go out in 16th place with 3 kills, if you remember.
Yes, they did. Let's take a look at the bottom half of the rankings right now and see, our teams who are in that bottom 8. I think the big one, obviously, we talked about it quite a lot, but LMV, high expectations, not really delivering right now for themselves. Team Doom as well, a team who I think, were picking up pace towards the end of yesterday, but they still need to keep that and try and find that consistency going in for the whole day and not just the last 2 games. Otherwise, they will start to fall behind. And then you've got TSC Legends and Most Wanted tied at the bottom right now. So it needs to be a hell of a day for those 2 teams, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like we talked to LMV Gaming. That was a team that we were kind of like, wow, like I think at the beginning I was like, this team is the one to watch out for. They've been together for so long, and then we just kind of had a lackluster performance coming out from them. They were just saying that I think they were trying a lot of new things yesterday, or just kind of playing a bit more passively than they're kind of used to. So I think this is definitely a team that you're going to see play a little more aggressively, be a little bit, channel their inner Swat 69 and get into the middle of those fights, and maybe initiating some of those fights as well. We saw it in, I believe it was a 3rd Erangel match yesterday. We got Hidan, who landed with 2 players of Team RESQ, and they, I mean, RESQ had the man advantage for sure in that compound, but they just kind of decided to stay on the other side of the building and didn't really do much. Versus Hidan, who just kind of like kept them there, called in, like you said, the cavalry of, I believe it was Talon, Perks, the rest of them to come in and just, just overwhelm them and to get the 2 kills right off the bat. And I believe that was one of their best games yesterday. Yeah,
that was, I think that was probably their best game, and it proves that if you do play aggressively, you have that experience together, it is super powerful. Maybe they were messing around. Maybe they were just trying to figure out and try something new. Maybe we'll see a different version of LMV today. But I think if we don't see that version of LMV, I think they have to go aggressive today. We know they're capable of it as a roster, but if they sit on their laurels and just look to kind of quote unquote farm placements, I guess, I think that's going to end all that well for them. So I want to see some aggression. I want to see that kind of like Panda style where they're picking fights, they're playing aggressive, and they're still placing pretty high consistently. And that should be enough to slingshot them back in. I think it's really the same for all of the teams as well, to be completely fair at the bottom. I think it's not just LMV who needs to start playing like that. I think, it's if you're at that bottom, you're just you need to start farming those kills. You need to start trying to get those decent placements, because I think a lot of those bottom teams are just playing way too passively. Some of them are getting knocked out of finding a single elimination themselves, and they're just getting 0 points on some rounds. And as you can see, the scores are massively varied from first place to last place right now. It is a lot of work to be done for these bottom 8 teams. Let's bring up the schedule for the day and see what maps we'll be playing on. It is actually the same as yesterday, but we'll still bring up the graphic just so you can all visually prepare yourself for what 5 games. We'll be starting out on Erangel, then going to Sanhok, then back to Erangel, then Miramar, and rounding the day out on Erangel. It's the map we see the most. What are we expecting from Erangel today? It's also our first game, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so for Erangel, what just looking at the circles from yesterday, we tend to see kind of like the first circle, it pops wherever on the map. Yesterday we had a finish right outside of Pachinki by the church. We had a finish just kind of towards the western bridge on the main island, and then we had a finish out into the farm area. So kind of all main islands. I'm really hoping for a military base, and we almost had it for the last game yesterday, but it did shift back onto the main island. But military base circles are just hectic as hell, because people are just setting it across the bridges. We got some boat strats, boat rotations, boatations, if you will, to the military base. But for them, usually we see like the first circle, and then right around the third, usually like the fourth circle, we see that like immediate hard shift of the circle. So I think these teams that do play a little bit more edge, like LMV, like Team Panda, they tend to be a little, I guess, more in the more gifted in that regard, because then they can just, with the hard shift, rotate on around. We saw that from Shockwave in the third game from Erangel yesterday, where they were able to identify where the skinny part of the circle was, and it shifted to the southeast 2 consecutive times, and they just kind of kept going down in that area. And I believe that's the real reason why they won that game yesterday.
Yeah, no, I think you're completely right. This is obviously, the map we see the most. We get 3 games of it a day. And we did see adaptation across the day on it. The top teams at the end of our first game of the day versus our 5th game of the day, massively different. Our last 2 games, we actually saw some of the teams who were at the time way lower down in the rankings place a lot higher. RESQ were in the bottom 8 at the start of the day. And then after game 4, they suddenly slingshot themselves up and got themselves into a way higher position. I think it was like 10th to 5th or something crazy for RESQ. I think it was that team. So, we do get time on this, and we do get to see some of that adaptation. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. Obviously, for the teams like Panda, like you said, they're probably just going to look to play the same. They are the silent killers. They always seem to I never notice them pick up kills, and then we get into like the 4th or 5th circle, and I'm like, wait, they got 7 kills already. When did that happen? They just seem to be able to
we
pick
just don't
off.
even see it.
Yeah, they're just they're hovering the edge of the circle, and then suddenly they turn up and they've got 7 kills, and they make top 3. And you're like, wow, okay, Panda are they are silent killers. They're sneaking around the map and they're just picking people off. And that's why they've been able to kind of amount such a lead over some of these other teams. Shockwave and Storm have been a little bit more brawly, I would say, than some of these other teams. They've been, like you were saying, it was Shockwave who've just they've placed second without actually getting a winner yet. So it's just like they've been playing so aggressively, and it's made for some really fun games to watch. Obviously, switching things up onto different maps. Sanhok for the second map of the day is going to mean smaller map, more action. Did seem to favor Shockwave yesterday. They did pretty good on that one. Was it Shockwave who did, or was it Storm? I keep getting those two
Storm was the one without the chicken dinner, and then Shockwave was in number 2 right after Panda with 1 chicken dinner.
That's right. Yes, you're right. They're both just 2 aggressive teams who start with the letter S.
They're 2 S's. They're like I get them mixed up too. I was like, S, that team. Yeah.
I'm excited. To get going into our first game. We had some pretty standard circles and plane paths, other than the Miramar plane path. But for the most part, casual, a lot of our plane paths have just been dead center, pretty central circles as well. If we start to see the circles getting mixed up, how do you think that actually affects some of these teams? Because it's been, I'd say, kind of bog standard circles so far. Everybody just goes to where they want, convenes in the center and has a fight. If they start getting really, awkward circles, let's say, going off to the northeast, northwest, and stuff like that, how does that actually impact these teams and the game?
I think one of the biggest impactors is that, with these kind of very even kill playing paths, very even kill like rotations, everyone, like if I was 5 threats, right, I would be able to look at the circle. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna guess this team goes here, etc. It's pretty obvious where they're gonna go. Like, oh, Pandas are probably coming in late. LMV, they're probably coming in late as well. They're probably gonna end up rotating widely around at some point. Like those teams that do, like these are these teams that end up or that drop in those extremities of the map, right? LMV going on to Primoris. We have Panda going up to North Georgia Pole, and then Shockwave going up to Severny. Even Conquerors going up to the Stauber and kind of Kameshki area. These are these late coming teams that are coming into the like from the edges. But once we get, like you said, those awkward circles, then it's kind of like, hey, it hard shifted. I'm like, I'm not, I could not bet like $1 million of where exactly is Shockwave going to end up in the circle, and then you might be, like taking a fight like, whoa, what is this team doing here? Like, how did they end up doing some crazy rotation get on this end? So we as spectators, we as casters, we're just like, we really hope for some crazy circles because it makes for very entertaining and very intense fights. That's not like just like a repeat of the same circles over and over again. So hopefully we see a little bit of that crazy action today.
Did you notice any kind of like a micro meta coming up yesterday? Maybe guns you weren't expecting getting used more regularly, or was it kind of more just the standard stuff for you?
A little bit of standard stuff, but something that I did notice that I really wanted to point out was that so we had the top fraggers yesterday that they posted on Instagram that I kind of looked at into. First was GK First from Team Panda. And really interestingly for him, he has 18 eliminations, but only 10 knockouts. So this is a style that I've seen a lot of like Chinese teams like Nova Esports do. It's they come in and they may hear a fight and they come in and kind of third party. They see two teams fighting, knocks all over the place. They're coming in, they're thirsting those kills, they're stealing those kills. He has very low damage actually in terms of relation to his kills because he's just stealing kills, letting all the other teams do the work for him. So I would be interested to see if Panda's gonna adapt that exact same play style to get even more eliminations today and day 2.
Alrighty, well, we are loading through onto our first map of the day, and this is a little bit of an awkward playing angle, actually. Not really going all the way through the map, so it's may force some of these teams to maybe drop somewhere a little bit different this time.
Yeah, so I like Conqueror, like I've seen them like alternately drop in Gaka instead of, there's no way that they're going up to Stauber or Kameshki. I mean, I guess they could go for some cars, drive all the way over there. But I have seen them kind of come down to the Gatka area before. We do have actually immediately out of the plane path, Swat 69. Remember, they're sharing Yasnaya with XTEAM yesterday. They're gonna be the first ones flung out. Looks like heading up to Zarky. So that's gonna be a little. I think we manifested this for sure. Hip raid. We were just like, let's see some different things today. Let's see some crazy circle. Let's see some weird plane paths. And I think that's kind of exactly what's happening right now.
Well, I think if you are SWAT 69, you're currently in that bottom 8. You need to change things up. Dropping into somewhere maybe a little bit more exclusively just for you, where you're not going to get into too many troubles. You can kind of get your resources together and get yourself in a good position. I think this is a good change here. We'll see how this works out for them, because if the circle is, in a southern direction, they've got a long way to go before they can really get it. Yeah, okay. Well, that is, I may have just cast a curse, SWAT 69 there. And
I think we're just cursing them.
Military base here, Monica.
We're literally, they're like, God, these casters need to shut up because they're just cursing us all over the place, just giving us like the worst kind of like this is a very like they probably were hoping like, let's just have like a normal kind of circle to start the day off, and we just like we went straight into like a military base, crazy rotations. Like, had they even warmed up yet? But right now, I know Storm Gaming and Blast are just kind of laughing right now because they're already situated on the military base. If it does shift down onto the island, it's going to be great. But here we got Most Wanted versus TSC, a little ring around the rosy with the double barrel shotgun, and he does misses out, but he's gonna get punched as he goes for the reload. I know his heart was beating just a little bit faster there. And then Gumball, though, no gun in sight. All he can do is just hope for his teammates, but he does end up trapping him right behind the boulder.
There it is, first blood of the day, instantly to kick us off as well. Lovely stuff there. Most Wanted currently at the bottom of the standings, so picking up that kill, really nice for them.
Yeah.
However, looks like the Goon Squad are about, so they may be looking for a little bit of revenge, and Marley might be looking to run him over. Going to use that car for cover, and Trap only with a shotgun, so he's not really got the range here. I'm not sure what Marley's got. Yeah, he's gonna be able to outrange him.
Yeah, AKM definitely. He probably doesn't have a... Actually, I do see a hull sight on it, so he's going to be able to look at him. But good for Marley, their in-game leader. He's just kind of dispatching Albie to get close, kind of bait him out. Wow, he's playing a little bit of Overwatch. But here, yeah, this is classic. Trap is not going to be long for this world as they're just kind of swarming. He's literally just like a wounded fish in the water. These are the sharks. They smell the blood. They're just going to be surrounding him and lickety split just like that with the nade. They're going to clean this up pretty quickly.
Well, 1-for-1 traded off. That does mean both of these teams who are currently towards the bottom, most wanted in last place. And I think actually TSC are tied with them. So our two bottom teams have got a point at least on the board, but they are now playing with a man disadvantage over the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, so yeah, wasn't really worth it. You know, losing one this early, like, hey, I got a point, but now what was the potential of keeping that fourth player left alive? You know, taking those 4-on-4 fights in the late stages of the game. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if this is really worth it, but this is going to be on that eastern side of the circle. Most Wanted usually tends to go all the way out to Lipkova, but we're going to see probably these two teams. I think it's going to be really hard for them actually because they're eventually going to have to cross the eastern bridge, and as a three-man, they're not going to have as much Overwatch, as much, you know, people to kind of support them. So they're probably just have to like full send it or kind of just sneak their way into the circle.
Well, just taking a look at Blast, they got the whole area to themselves. Get themselves as much gear as they need. Can have a bunch of time as well where they are set up for, you know, a pretty chill start to this game. We're going to be completely honest. Some of those teams though, like Swat 69, they're going to have to be on the move fairly soon because they dropped all the way up towards Zaki.
Oh yeah.
So they got a long run down to get to where the circle is right now.
All right, we got Team Conqueror, Storm Gaming we got Itachi, their in-game leader. It seems always the in-game leader is just in this hot seat of just being a little bit too separate from the team. He's got the DBS actually. I hate the DBS, but the shots from afar though. So I guess a little like kind of bait and action with the buggy, but we're gonna lose one from Conqueror as Phantom is just kind of, you know, drifting in the distance. But yeah, another team to join the ranks of Most Wanted in TSC in terms of losing a player early.
Just helping the down friend up as well, making sure that he can get back on his feet and heal up. And Phantom just going to leave that compound. Decides, you know what, I don't want to one Storm right now. This team have clearly proven themselves. It's 4 people already down in this lobby to start us off with this game 1 of day 2 here. Phantom's just going to look to try and rejoin the rest of the team. Seems to be quite a distance away from the rest of Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's a little bit like Hidan from LMV, like the not necessarily the IGL all the time, but usually just like whoever's like in front of the team, maybe the IGL will call out one of his teammates, hey, Phantom, can you go scout out that compound over there? Or the IGL will do it himself. We tend to see the IGL assuming that support role just because they're the most communicative one. They're able to collect the information and make a quick decision. You know, they're not relying on, hey, you know, Tick is their in-game leader for RESQ, maybe like Hyper, hey, this is what I see, and Tick is kind of like has, you know, 80% of the information and then might try to make a call like that. So the IGL, sometimes they'll just be like, hey, I'm just gonna go, you know, be able to dissect my own information and then make a call for my team of where to go.
We've got our eyes on RESQ, a team who, you know, we got a Twitch chat really hyped up yesterday, actually. And as soon as Twitch chat started hyping them up, they really started to turn themselves around and pulled themselves from a really rough position into top 8. So honestly, a very impressive team. A mostly British team as well. I believe it's 3 Brits on the team, maybe 4 right now. I can't really remember. I need to double check that. They are a long way away from where the circle is, so just vehicling up and looking to head and probably play the edge of the circle for now. Beside a rescue.
Yeah. RESQ, definitely one of those teams with the biggest fan base probably in this tournament. We do see now Conqueror. Okay, so this is the sequel of losing Itachi from Conquerors before. Looks like Storm Gaming. I think that they're just on the cusp of like engaging in this fight one more time. Remember, Storm, they're one of those teams at the very top, third place right now, versus Conqueror right kind of down at the bottom. So I mean, the pressure's on for Conqueror to try to win this and not go out of this game and as the first team.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're looking to try and catch up with the likes of Panda by playing really, really aggressive. Panda been a pretty quiet start for them as Conqueror finding themselves outnumbered. But I do like this position here from Noshi. Just off quite a way in the distance, but we'll be able to kind of give that supportive fire from an angle that Conqueror don't have covered right now. But they are just nading up the building, which they're in. But here's some of those shots from that angle we were talking about. That's going to be a big old chunk of damage laid down as Phantom kind of just hiding inside the building, holding it down, trying to deny Storm the opportunity to get in.
Yeah, we got one at the top, one in the bottom.
On this as well.
Yeah, we did have LakoNostra. We did see them kind of take out 2 members of Team XTEAM, which really good for LakoNostra because they're kind of the ones at the bottom half of the game. So collecting a couple kills on that eastern bridge front as we do as the next circle about to pop in. Hey, I literally manifested this. I wanted a military base circle. I mean, it could still shift back onto the mainland, but I'm thinking these teams are like, yeah, let's go on and send it down to the south.
You brought this.
I brought this hell on them.
Going in for the fight. They're going to be on knock 1. Going to look for the second knock, and Conqueror only 1 member left. No, she's so far away as well. That is going to be the end of 3 of Conqueror now. Storm happily taking that fight, getting himself 3 kills. But Noshi just going to try and leave in the buggy. Storm not going to be able to get that full team wipe yet.
Storm Gaming he was one of the players on the top 5 fraggers. I believe he was number 3. So definitely just showing us, why he did end up on the top fraggers from yesterday. Going to be Noshi just with his tail tucked between his legs, and he's like, I'm just going to have to go for placement at this point. Scratching his head. All the teams. I mean, I think they have a lot to kind of dissect from here. But we do shift onto LakoNostra. So for them, 1 kill found so far. XTEAM in the distance with only 2. And this is a tough thing about bridges, right? You want to be, I would say you want to be the team either the first to cross the bridge or stay real late and come in after everyone else. Because if you end up being in the middle of the pack, like 5 teams trying to cross the bridge, it's just too chaotic to try to do it. TSC LakoNostra looks like they have a little bit of like a bridge camp. TSC, they actually really haven't moved at all. This is exactly where they usually drop in Erangel. So they just kind of set up any teams kind of bombing down the road to try to get across the bridge are gonna get shot at from TSC.
Yeah, you got a really nice position there actually.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they've got only 3 members, they still got that brilliant position, so it should be pretty hard for anyone to fully punish them without hard sending it into them. Although TSC are pretty spread out. As oh, bye Nemo. There it is. There's that Panda pickups that we see them just slowly pick up throughout the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Team Panda, you don't see as many just full out like 4-on-4, just down to the nitty gritty fights from them. It's definitely a lot of just like picking up kills here or there, keeping themselves safe. GK first, he's your top fragger. He's your kind of like the one that's really in the forefront for the MVP title in these PMPL West EU qualifiers. And he's going to be just rotating on with the rest of his team, collecting the 1 kill. Slow and steady wins the race. And that's definitely what Team Panda is emulating for this game so far.
Swat 69, another team we did talk about who needed to have a good performance today.
Oh, yeah.
Already losing a member. Yes, it was to Panda, so yes, it was to the top team, but you're still losing that member. It is going to cost you moving in, but it's actually been a pretty action-packed start to this map. We're only on the 2nd circle we've already seen the end of quite a few players as Marley has to be careful. That grenade almost took him out. Takes a bit of spray as he jumps down as well. You can hear them coming up the stairs, looking for the nade, trying to find his way out of that, but that's just going to be the knock. I don't know why you pulled the nade out, friend. Easy little pickup there. And the Nameless are able to find themselves a lovely kill. Look at that circle as well. Everybody's going to have to start crossing over these bridges, and it looks like that's RESQ actually set up to potentially camp the bridge or just get over to safety. We'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, for Shockwave, at some point, they're going to have to just ditch their vehicles and just jump off. They're probably getting in their vehicle, just send it off the cliff where they are at and try to come up that little hump just to the north side of Doom. Then come up onto the beaches there. Finally, there's a little bit shacks here and there they can find. But yeah, we got a good old-fashioned military base circle to start things off. TSC, I think, just left their kind of bridge camp area as it's more advantageous just go for the circle. X team down to 2. Team Panda now. How do they always do this? They just seem to just identify the weaker teams in the lobby, and then, or by weaker I mean just like X team has the man down advantage or disadvantage for them. So Panda is always somehow able to identify it, just not nervous at all out in the blue zone, and able to just catch these players while they're not expecting it and get those kind of easy cleanups, picking the kills here and there as we now turn to Clear taking shots at TSC, rotating into the circle.
Yeah, Brucey, actually, car's going to get popped here, so has to jump off and run through the ridge to safety. Nice stuff there from Clear, and Clear had an absolutely fantastic turnaround, and that seems to be the story of a few of our teams coming into today. Teams who had a bad start to the day yesterday really turned it around, and OK for Clear was the person who stood out to me. As Bruty, not catching a break at all, escapes Clear, and now runs towards Team Doom. Don't think Team Doom are actually going to punish him, although he has made his way into a building. I'm not sure if this is a building of anyone in. I don't think it is, so yeah, it's not, so he's okay. But Brucey surrounded on all sides and separated from his other teammate. Oh no, Albie's there. Don't worry. He's close to Albie.
Yeah, this is that third circle hardship that I was talking about. Usually it's like center, center, center. And so I think these teams, you know, they kind of start on the edges or start like actually we just lost one of the players of TSC from a headshot actually coming out. So Team TSC, they're pretty spread out. They're gonna have to, yeah, he was actually the one we were just spectating in that house that you were wondering if anybody was in. They're gonna have to get out of there. X team, I'm a little scared for them. Shy he's the one with that 1 versus 4 on Team X team from yesterday. And just across the bridge from SVG, we're going to be across the bridge. We got about 3 different teams here: SVG, X team, and then LakoNostra behind the SVG 0C. He's their in-game leader. He's calling out, dispatching his team up ahead as the circle is about to close one more time. And every time I close it, so the blue zone does do a little bit more damage. Hardships one more time to the western side, gifting it to RESQ and Team LMV. This was the team where like we want a comeback story from them. They've got one of the most ideal positioning within the circle. As did we just see TSC get taken out? First team out of the match, actually, Hiprain.
Panda are on that side. They're looking for Ghoul. Can they find him? I don't think they can. They've actually got a knockdown onto GK
How
first.
much damage?
But Ghoul's going so low, going to get knocked by the circle. And I don't think X Team are going to be able to pick up their players now. Ghoul knocked, and Lane going to be able to finish this one up. That's another kill for Panda. They're second of this game, but they are a long way away from that circle, but they're still taking a fight here as Flick able to come through. There's the Rambo play from Flick once again. Gets himself a knock and a kill onto one of the Panda members. And he gets knocked himself and is going to try and drop down to safety. As Lang going to be able to heal back up, but they still need to get a shift on. They're a long way away from this circle. And that's X Team eliminated as well in the meanwhile. This circle has caused so much action, Monica. It's crazy.
I think the teams that we've seen go out are the teams that lost a member early. So it's really that man down disadvantage is really costing them at this point. Now we have LMV Perks getting the first entry knock onto Most Wanted. And I mean, all the breaks are happening here. Remember, this is like the 4th phase. This is where the hard shift happens. This is where teams are rotating on top of each other, trying to get within the circle. Playzone actually takes one of the players of Most Wanted. So Most Wanted sitting, in a really tough spot. 2 players up. LMV, literally the kings of the hill. They've got the top of this little shack here, really great cover. They just need to make sure that they're able to watch every single angle as all the teams, they might try to storm up and try to aggress from their position. Uh-oh, Conqueror.
Ooh.
He's shot in the toes.
That was close. LMV got this brilliant high ground here, and the circle's shifting onto them, so they're quite happy to start buckle down and hold this spot, but they will have people approaching on multiple fronts, and that pincer maneuver could get really, really hard for them. Currently, Storm are leading the lobby in terms of kills. They still got all of their members, but LMV with this brilliant position should just be able to pick up a few eliminations here, and they really need it today. Need to come through. Nades are going down, and they're trying to flush. Blaster trying to flush LMV out from this high ground, but it's so hard to do so. SnoX actually going to come in forward on the buggy to try and scout. Actually gets the knock onto Talon as he runs him over, and Blaster going to try and aggressively push forward, but that's going to be one getting knocked down. Now they're looking for a bit more damage here. Can Perks do it? Panda has been eliminated in the meanwhile as LMV are taking this fight. They've already got the knock onto multiple members. It's just one up for the moment, and they're trying to finish up these kills here for LMV, trying to get those elimination points and get an even stronger placement right now as they find themselves one more knock. That is Blast taken down. LMV with this high ground advantage, pushing it hard now. 5 kills on the board.
Perks the Machina actually just got 3 pieces onto Blast Esports, and I thought Blast Esports was coming in strong, but you know, LMV, they're just like, the pressure's on for us. We need these points at these points. At this point in the match, you're gonna have that southern tip as the circle is about to shift one more time, but LMV cheering right now because this is these points that they so sorely needed. Shifts up into the northern side. Clear having a really, really nice high advantage. Storm gonna come in as well. LMV, they're gonna need to quickly rotate to get in here before Storm and Clear do set up to prevent them from coming on the southern side. But if you look at these teams on the eastern side of the circle, that's going to be the crunch for all these teams to collapse onto each other.
Yeah, there's so much fighting going on all over the map right now. The kill feed is just completely lit up. 5 threats trying to take on the Nameless right now. You can see over RESQ trying to move up themselves, but this all about this fight because it looks like Swat 69 might be joining in as a third party on this big fight atop the hill here. Looks like the Nameless are actually calling it. They're just gonna give up this fight.
Yeah, I think it's so far outside the circle, and the circle is going to start closing in now. It's like they're like, we're not fighting for positioning. We're just going to go for the circle. LakoNostra, LMV, these are kind of our Cinderella stories. They're really turning it around. 69 fighting with Doom, kind of off in the distance. 5T also just disengaging from this and trying to get within the circle. But SWAT 69, I mean, they're still going for these kills here. They're smoking their way in, but I think they're just kind of out of vehicles to be able to rotate in the circle. Savage, I think, just narrowly able to escape the clutches of Team SWAT 69, finding a little bit dip and finding just within the circle as Phoenix does go down.
Yeah, but look at this. They got Doom pinned inside that building, and that was a fair amount of damage thrown down. That dip there for Clear as well means they can put their vehicles in it on top of this hill. They're in a nice position within the circle. But what a hill to fight on. There's still so many teams. There's 11 teams left here. And they're all going to start to convene. These smokes are going to be doing wonders for Clear. Not giving them a clear shot onto them. But, hello. That caught me off guard. Vindex is going to go down, and that's going to the end of SWAT 69. But now, the Nameless are making their way up. 5 threats are going to have to put the smokes down to try and get out to safety. But there are so many teams collapsing on so many fronts. Doom coming up one side, the Nameless coming up another. You can see there's Conqueror and Noshi just going to get taken out. There's the elimination.
Hey, he hung in there.
He hung in there for a bit. And honestly, Panda going down early really could shift up things a little bit here. Storm's still at the top of the standings, though, so this could shift stuff in their favor as the circle is going to close one more time. Let's keep our eyes on where it's going to be going because this could really change the complete tides of this as LMV have been eliminated. RESQ and Storm are going to have to move. But this is actually favoring the Nameless right now, who are in the circle, as Shockwave are going to get eliminated by RESQ. RESQ now have a free rotation towards this circle without anybody coming up on their side. So they're very happy with this one. But 5 Threats with this high ground within the circle, just spraying down onto Doom and taking them down. They are low. I'm not sure about the resources for 5 Threats right now because they have blinking health bars.
Yeah, I mean, how the tables have turned. We have Panda, we have Shockwave, who are our front runners on the standings, both out of the match right now. I gasped when I saw this circle because LakoNostra, they've got the skinny side, they've got the most ideal part. They're able to just kind of peek over to the left and right, see as these teams are trying to get in, as we do see Doom is eliminated. Buju now finding a knock onto 5 Threats. 5 Threats actually down to 2, so more like 2 threats. But Antho, he's going to be coming over. He sees the flames. He's going to be stopping his push as Ernori just be peeking around the trees because, I mean, at some point, 5 Threats, they're not in the circle. They need to come in. But unfortunately for 5 Threats, they do see the solo that is going to be clear RP. And he might just be the thorn in the side as Antho is coming over. Oh, he just does see him as actually RFB. I was worried for this, that he does get knocked and flushed Antho out of this match. So 5 Threats down to only 2, and they've got, I mean, there's no clear way to get in. So they do get the entry knock onto Hunter as he needs to crawl back. I mean, they do have the top of the hill to come over and get the revive, but now it's the crunch. All the teams sending it into the circle.
Yeah, you can see RESQ on that flank as well. Storm currently engaged in a fight with RESQ, and Storm currently the only team with all of their players up right now. So trying to look to hold on to this, but it's about this uphill battle as the Nameless are just holding this high ground, and everybody has to work their way up this very, very steep incline to be able to actually get onto them. So the Nameless have a fantastic position right now. See, on the other side of the ridge, RESQ and Storm engaged in a fight here. Smokes are down, and they're starting to spray. Savage are actually just holding out underneath the ridge themselves for the moment, as RESQ still continue to fire out. We've seen another team get knocked out. I believe that was 5 Threats who dropped out there. And they can't quite find all of these Storm members. Storm hiding behind this lip. They did get a knock, so they can get the res if they need. But for the moment, they're a little bit scared about this pinch from RESQ. RESQ, another front runner right now. That's actually going to be one of the RESQ members getting knocked. This could put them down to 2 players to close us out here. Clear Vision have been taken out, and we're down to our bottom 4, Monica.
Yeah, bottom 4 clear, but they were able to secure 13 points, so great for them. Storm Gaming, I'm really scared for them. They're in the downhill. The circle shifted up to the northern side, so LakoNostra, they're going to be able to just overwatch or come over the hill, shoot on down at Team Savage. But Storm, they are really not in a great place because LakoNostra shooting at them from the right, and then we have, I believe, Savage going to be able to look, or actually Team RESQ actually to their left-hand side. So Storm, it's definitely, I don't know how they're going to escape from this area. It might be an impossible rotation to get in. Savage, but they're going to be sitting nice and pretty. However, only with 2 players left alive. LakoNostra actually at some point lost 2 of their members, so they're also going to be only 2. So actually, I said Storm was in a bad spot, but they're the only full team in this lobby right now. The closest going to be RESQ with 3. Pujo still watching over onto Savage now because this is the easiest entry. This is their way into the circle, taking out Savage, taking over their positioning as RESQ Tick, their leader, does actually send it a little bit on closer to Savage on the other side of the crate. Hunter watching over everyone in this circle.
Oh, Hunter's been hunted, though. He's going to go down, and that should just give Storm the advance up because, like you said, there's only 2 members left up the top of that hill right now. Storm have the man advantage. They're pretty healthy as well, so they should just be able to push up if they please. RESQ a little bit unaware as to where everybody is, so they're just playing in this ditch for the moment, but pushing up is getting harder and harder. This high ground is just so hard to work around when someone has got it locked down. I believe Hunter's been revived and picked back up by Bujo, so they still have those 2 players at the top of that hill. No, he's still down. He's still prone. Okay, well, he's still
down, yeah,
but not dead yet. Okay, don't worry. That's going to be the end. I might have card cursed them there. That's going to be the end of them as Hyper taking a little bit of damage here from Storm, but they're not actually quite able to get too much. Savage are actually real fall in the side for RESQ. They just want to be able to get on the other side and get a good position, but with Savage here, it's getting even harder for RESQ to get into a good position as Zero C is going to go forward on the buggy, and he's going to get sprayed down. Coyote's going to be able to take him down, and actually, it's stolen away, I believe. It's Coyote. Very, very low. Storm continuing to fire out, and that's going to be the end of Coyote here. Savage able to finish that one up, and RESQ have been eliminated. It's Savage versus Storm now, but the man advantage means that Storm are going to come out on top. 26 points at the end of that game for them.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I really commend Storm because they were in that downhill position. I didn't really think they were going to be able to get in the circle with LakoNostra and Team RESQ on either side of them. But then I think what was a saving grace for Storm was that both those teams suddenly shifted their focus on getting in the circle. You saw LakoNostra come around and start taking shots at Savage, and then you saw RESQ, Tick just rotate around like that. And just nobody was watching Storm as they literally just stormed up the hill, got in the circle as a 4-man, just overwhelmed everybody, and then stole the win from any of the other teams. So I think them having 4 players, able to keep all players left alive, and then just I mean that just literally the gates of heaven opened for them, and they just walked into the circle.
Let's have a look at the match standings and see how everybody placed and how many points were earned at the end of that first game here. Obviously, Storm take the top, 26 points. RESQ got 17 points. Savage on 16. LMV placing in top 8 there, 6 points. It's not a massive amount, but it's something for them, and I think that's the big thing. Team Panda, though, that is not a great game for them. They didn't really amount too much there. I don't even know if they got, or they would have got some kill points, but I don't even know if they got placement points. I can't remember exactly where they dropped out. So this is going to shake things up. Clear, another consistently good game from them. 13 points. They were in a pretty good spot at the beginning of today. LakoNostra, that is a good one for them, though. Even though it's only 12 points, they were 16th at the beginning of this game. And actually, I'll quickly check how many points they had at the beginning of this game, because it's probably more points. Yeah, they had 16 points total. So they've literally
Which team was that?
The Nameless.
The Nameless? The Nameless, yeah, 16 points I believe, had 16 points before this game.
Yes. So they're doing really good. Let's have a look at the second page and see, the bottom end of the table. Swat 69 only got themselves 2 points. Panda only got 2 points. Shockwave only 2 points. I think Panda and Shockwave are the big ones here. Most wanted, again, 1 point. Not particularly the greatest start for the team at the bottom of the standings. This will keep them firmly locked down there. And same for TSC, unfortunately. They've had a pretty rough start to the day.
Yeah, we have... I mean, XTEAM, they were just sitting right on the cusp of that 8th place. They had 37 points in 8th place at the end of yesterday. And for them to get only 1 point this game, that's not going to fare very well for them, because some of the teams right below them did get a lot more points. So anyway, we will come right back. We're going to move on into Sanhok, everyone's favorite, I'm sarcastically saying everyone's favorite map. But Sanhok, we're going to go for it. And we'll be back for game 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the PMPL Qualifiers Day number 2. We're getting ready to go on to our second map, which is Sanhok. Monica, yesterday we saw Sanhok was interesting. We saw, Panda kind of play placement because they picked a couple of fights and then were on the outside of the circle. We saw some teams, have better games than game 1. I think that was when we really saw Shockwave and Storm come alive, I think, after that second game as well.
Yeah, definitely. Remember, match number 2 was everyone's favorite. RESQ was the one who did win it with 10 kills. So Sanhok, it tends to be very super action-packed. However, we see less kills in general per team in Sanhok just because like all these fights happen so much. And it's not like Erangel where you have a team like Storm Gaming and just like steamrolls through all these teams. Like everyone is picking fights with each other. By the end, we don't really see those kind of full-on 4-on-4 full team fights. You're seeing like a bunch of duos, some solos, like maybe a trio of players that are end up fighting at the very end of Sanhok. So Sanhok, super RNG. We're gonna get right down into it. And hey, Hip Raid, look at this plane path. This is gonna be far, far on the northern side. Yeah.
What have we done? I mean, it's a smaller map, so they should be able to hit all the points, but like you said yesterday, the circle appears a lot quicker on this map. It closes a lot quicker on this map. So, if you are dropping down towards the south and the circle ends up being northern, you're going to have to move real quick. You're not going to have that much time to get your loot on. It looks like teams are going to look to be spreading out. I believe it's RESQ who said to drop at Ruins, but I can't see them right now. There they are.
Yeah, you're right. RESQ and Ruins. Rescue in Ruins. Remember yesterday we did have Savage. I think your favorite player Flick was the one who kind of camped behind a rock and was able to find Lou in that like kind of tree farm up there right above the name of Magnai. So it looks like Lou was like, I'm not gonna go there this time, just in case he's camping me one more time. But we do see actually LMV Talon in a little bit of hot water because he's sharing the compound with 2 players of Team Savage.
He is indeed. It actually looks like RESQ are quite spread out right now, just looking at where they've all landed. So that's going to be a little bit of a pain for them. Maybe just some people still in the air, just scouting out where other teams have fully dropped. So you can see that circle, not too out of the ordinary. We'll keep our eyes on where it's going to kind of close in on, because it's still a fairly wide circle. But Blood, he didn't go in there. He didn't reveal his position, but he's about to get. Oh, he didn't even he just got away with murder.
Okay, so what happened here is they both landed here, and Blood was just like, I'm scared. Like, I'm just gonna. I mean, he didn't have a chance to go for a gun, so I guess this was best case scenario for him. Blood, but Coca Boy, I think Blood could have waited a little bit longer, because clearly Coca Boy heard footsteps and is now going to be chasing Blood. He's going to be waiting by the cliffside here. He's just like begging, be like, Hyper, somebody please come on over here. But at least he has a vector this time around.
Yeah, but if they do look over that ridge, they're going to see him prone, making their way out.
Yeah,
and that's going to be an easy shot. Hey boy, maybe in the area, but it looks like Rescue's going to be able to get away. Blood on the run to safety. But he now needs to get up with the rest of his team, because he has absolutely no resources other than that one gun. So he is in a suboptimal position right now. Hyper a little bit off in the distance, and this is kind of the price that Rescue are paying for a pretty spread out drop. And Swat 69 are just hunting. In fact, Nemo is so close to finding him.
They're playing that game, you know, like you're getting warmer, you're getting hotter, you're getting real hot right now. He's right below him. But SWAT 69, they did lose Pog, Boss 6 to one of the members of 5 Threat. So I think that's definitely gonna like dwindle their capabilities just a tiny little bit. I think Hyper's still a little bit too far to provide any support for Blood. So he's like, hey, you're on your own. Just like pull on your invisibility cloak, and I'm gonna have you just chill there. But at the same time, we saw in the kill feed, Savage did take out one of the players of LMV. It's going to be Talon this time around instead of Lou. So once again, Hiprain, LMV off to a not so great start on Sanhok, starting with 3.
Yeah, it's a bit of a story here for LMV. Just getting knocked out.
Yeah.
On this map, having a rough start of it. SWAT 69 also down a player themselves, so we've already lost 2. 5 Threats were the ones who were able to pick that one kill up, and does look like XTEAM on the other side of the river are well aware of them. Same for 5 Threats. So both these teams just kind of caught in a stalemate. I believe they're both within the circle, so they should be okay to kind of hold this for a little bit longer. It's like 5 Threats are the ones making the aggressive moves.
Yeah, this is the only way to cross here is that little what do you call it? Connecting land right here. So X team, Psyox, he's the one with the 1 versus. We keep saying it, but it's incredible because he's the only one with the 1 versus 4. The only one close is that 1 versus 3 that we saw come out from LMV Perks the last game. X team identifying a team is crashing up onto them. The other half of their team beg for mercy. The other is Nightmare is going to be calling them down from the hilltops to join them on this fight. So we might see a good old fashioned 4 versus 4 fight here. I'm a little concerned for 5T though, because they're all clumped together behind the exact same boulder. If they can find a little bit of utilities here, X team, throw some grenades, throw some smokes, cover the line of vision, and maybe get a couple knocks on 5T. They might be able to overwhelm here, and it looks like the first knock is going to come out, and Getty is going to be finding it on Tinwaz.
My eyes on Ghoul. 1v4 yesterday. Might not need it today, as there's already been a knock by Getty. It looks like 5 Threats should be able to get their player up. Make sure that not going to be going down yet as Nightmare looking to try and just flank around the other side. And the X team got the high ground as well, though. Hit by the spray a little bit from 5 Threats. Meds are going to have to get used, but I'm just looking, like, taking note of the resources right now. Neither team's massively high on meds right now. So this fight is going to be costly for both teams because the healing's going to be a problem. The XTEAM are looking for this on the 5 threats. They've got the knock, and they're looking for Talon here. Talon tries to pick over the boulder, and that is going to be Ghoul getting himself the takedown there. 5 threats are eliminated. Nice and early onto this Sanhok.
Yeah, I kind of had some high hopes for 5 threats because they did make a not roster change, but some of their starters weren't able to play yesterday. But we do see Doom 0 going through and shooting some little bit of bad manners there, but they're able to find one, go for the flush, overwhelm, and get the cleanup kill. But 5 threats, they didn't have their starters all playing yesterday, so they had Lelouch, and then they had I Nows. That we just saw that came onto the team today to play. So I had a little more high hopes for 5 threats. I think they may be still warming up, but it is Sanhok. It is kind of the total RNG kind of map as that first circle is going to close. It's still encompassing all 3 islands of Sanhok. So I mean, it's kind of anyone's guess where it's going to go, but we usually see Sanhok circles just center. So that's why we see some teams like 69, like Team Rescue, in really good spots. You just go for the center and you just sit there nice and pretty in Sanhok.
Yeah. You can actually see that Panda is still pretty far away from that circle. A couple of members still staying in the blue as well. Something I've really noticed about Panda is they are not scared about the blue damage. I know on this map it's
Not
less,
worried.
but they are really not scared about the blue damage. They are quite happy just to stay and get themselves into a comfortable position and then come in and behind people and get the jump. I believe Hidden has actually been knocked down by Dan there.
Yep.
Not by Dan, sorry. I think it was Ads who knocked him. So LMV now in this compound with Most Wanted looking down upon them. The circle's going to start to close in, and this may force some of them to move a little bit. No one can get to Hidan.
Yeah, if they had a smoke, they could. I guess they're using that a little bit of distraction, but I say if they could use a smoke, they would have definitely crossed earlier to go for the revive. Looks like we have Lou going for the revive on his in-game leader Hidan, and then able to get him up as Most Wanted is now just watching. Clearly at this point, they're counting it down. They see the player come over. They didn't have a way to go for the flush. They know he's revived. They know this is not really in their advantage to continue this fight, so they're gonna just disengage, go for the circle. As we did see a little bit of a fight break out in the distance, but here Most Wanted, I mean, these are 2 teams kind of in the bottom half. I think Most Wanted more pressure on them because I believe they're at the bottom, if not second or third to the bottom.
They are literally in bottom place right now.
Okay.
They started the day with a couple of points, and they got a single point, and that is it. No, they got 0 points in the last. No, they got 1 point in the last game because they killed one of TSC's. First blood, actually. But not been a great start for Most Wanted. And, you know, we're on to day 2. There's only tomorrow. So today has to be good. Tomorrow has to be good if they want to keep themselves relevant right now. Panda, still quite happy, just chilling out in the blue zone, just getting as much farm, as much resources as possible. Look at the med kits right now they're rocking. So they're going to be able to join up into these fights and just have as much resources as necessary.
Yeah, that med kit, it's definitely something that you wouldn't really use in the end game just because it takes so long to use. Usually we tend to see people do like first aids and just a bunch of boosts and such like that. Looks like Team Conqueror though up into the compounds up, and we actually do have RESQ fighting against XTEAM. Remember XTEAM, they did lose a player or so before. Or okay, finally they lost Seox. But I mean, they had multiple knocks. But I mean, their top fragger, Seox, our favorite player, he's gonna be out of the match, down to only 3 for Team XTEAM.
Yeah, it's gonna be costly for them. Just taking stock of what teams are down now. It's XTEAM, RESQ, Swat 69, and LMV all down a player. We had a pretty high action start, but it feels like, you know, that started to temper somewhat here, going into this next stage. But
yeah, it doesn't feel like yesterday's Sanhok.
It's going to get really bloody because, like you said, this is a much smaller map than any of the other maps we play on. So expect to see some action break out fairly soon.
I'm actually pretty surprised X Team lost a player, because you see their RESQ is the one who got him. So clearly this player from X Team was completely out in the open, somehow got knocked and flushed. That's kind of a fatal error on him, because they're so far away. You shouldn't, from that distance, you shouldn't be able to get knocked and flushed out. Well,
Yeah,
X Team, but
absolutely.
they're going to be the keepers of the island, waiting for the next circle as it does shift up. So X Team, I mean, a little tough spot for them, because now they need a cross to that northwestern island, and RESQ is going to be right there, and they're very aware of where they're at. But we see Blast and Team Panda might go head to head.
Yeah, they're having a scrap here in the blue. Panda quite spread out, but this is what we see Panda do, is just fighting in these circles as much as possible. Meds, painkillers, everything getting taken here by Blastem just to keep himself comfortable. We know that Panda are completely stacked as far as resources go, so they're happy to stay out here as long as they please. And they'll have people coming up behind these two Blast members as well. Although Blast have also started to bring some allies with them. Is Lang going to get knocked? That's a big knock, and it looks like Blastem might just look to try and run him over for the finish here. That is going to be an easy flush here. But actually, it might not be as easy as they thought, because Panda are going to find themselves the knock. They're all quite spread out still, though. Can GK First get this knock? Can he find this kill?
Yeah, the advantage is definitely
trying to get the revive, but the fight looks to be going down. That's going to be another knock there, and this should be this fight one here for Panda. Again, it's just how they play. They play in the blue, and they just pick off small groups, small teams, and just a nice amount of elimination points for themselves.
Yeah, 1 elimination found so far, about to be 2. Blast, they're another one of those teams. I said 5 threats. They have their starting roster. Also, Blast now, they have their starting roster now with Razor. I was watching a couple EU tournaments there. Razor was one who really stuck out to me. I believe he almost won a match for them with like 8 kills in some other tournament of Playzone now, taking out members of Team Blast. Actually flushing out that one knock that they had. So Panda, I mean, they lost one, but the trade-off was like 2 kills that they were able to get. TSC crossing the bridge now on the western side. We'll see. Looks like we do have clear just kind of in the distance. I don't think they're not really setting up here to gatekeep anyone from crossing the bridge. But RESQ, we keep seeing them light up the kill feed, this time getting a knock onto LakoNostra. Looks like in the, just the very southern tip of the circle, as LakoNostra actually crossing the bridge, unaware of RESQ, and this is going to be X Team to kind of just watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, we did actually see one of the Panda members go down as well, a second one. So Panda down to 2 players. Not been a great day too for them. They came in really well, but consistently starting to have harder and harder showings. Both Shockwave and Storm, pretty quiet showing from them. I say this as Rescue Tick going to be able to get a kill onto Bujo. Or at least a knock onto Bujo. Rescue got really nice position here. And they forced the Nameless down into this ditch by the river. Pincered by X Team as well. So it looks like the Nameless are in a really rough spot right now.
Yeah, the Nameless, I mean, there's no way to kind of jump back to go get Bujo, because when you're in the water, that kind of calf deep water, you're going to be very slow to move. You're just going to be hopping, very easy target for RESQ. I'm loving RESQ's huge, massive split here. We got Blood. Actually, he hasn't really moved at all. When he was up top, he had to kind of run down from 69. It does center on up. I would not be surprised if RESQ just kind of leaves where they are, heads back up and meets up with Blood to be on the high tops. But this is going to be a really exciting game, because when we see circles end like this, you're going to see teams on cliff sides way above teams down below, and we sometimes see kind of a med off going on. I would not be surprised if this game ends up like this. We do see one player from Blast actually does get taken out, so it's going to be only Razor, last representative left alive of Blast.
It actually looks like Panda might just be mid-stratting this for placement. It didn't even look like they had
Sanhok
any
is the map to
intention
do
of
it
leaving where they were.
Sanhok is definitely the map to do it on.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, they are, they're down 2 players, and last game they didn't place very well, so just trying to see what they can get, trying to squeeze as many points out of this round as possible. Doom's going to be able to take out OK from Clear. Doom have a really nice high ground advantage here.
Yeah, he does.
As Frosty able to knock Vindex as well. Frosty having a really good couple of knocks there onto clear from this high ground.
Yeah, you definitely always want to be on the high ground on Sanhok. It's just you are able to see way more with your third person perspective down below, getting more information. Clear just really not in a great spot now. Down below and out in the blue zone have to kind of rotate up slowly. You see LMV multiple casualties from the likes of Team RESQ. Up at the top, now we have Shockwave turning their attention onto Team Savage. Savage down into the kind of right in between the hills here. They're very, very split up right now. Half the team out here, half the team within the mountainside. It just seemed very, very just not a coordinated rotation. Not really sure what was happening with team at that point. But look, we do have Clear taking out more members of Team XTEAM. XTEAM now down to only 3, as another one does get knocked. So I think it's only 2 left alive.
There's Shockwave on the high ground as well. Storm currently locked down in a compound. They can see that Conqueror trying to pass along the side of the beach as Erin's been knocked and Conqueror going to be able to pick themselves up a kill there. It's going to be the end of Trap. And Most Wanted actually get himself a kill, get knocked in response. There's a lot of action breaking out for these lower teams, picking up a couple of kills left, right, and center. Doom have got 4 kills there, leading the lobby along with Clear and XTEAM in terms of eliminations. As Panda still not even crossed the bridge. They are playing very far back right now. Well, one of the members hasn't crossed the bridge, as I do believe that was a wipe there from GK First. So they're still staying active. They're still finding these little bits of kills, but they're quite happy just to play in the blue and wait out and let the other teams just finish each other off. We talked about their meds. They've got plenty to work with there. And I don't know what ads just did, but 2 dots just disappeared off my screen.
Yeah, for Panda, actually, remember, there's so many crates over there, like lots of dead bodies over there. They're going to be able to collect a lot of meds and first aids that they need if they're going to just be sitting on the blue. This is a 5th phase. This is really, really starting to burn. So they're definitely going to need as many meds as possible. Circle shifted down. So we got LakoNostra, we've got RESQ, and then I believe one more team that is just Storm Gaming that is within the circle. Everyone else, so they have to come down from the mountainside and kind of come down into the circle. Doom. So they're coming up. Bujo. Okay, so I'm a little worried for LakoNostra because it looks like Bujo is going to be a little bit separate from his team, but we do see his teammates. Looks like one is going to be a little bit higher on the ground from Doom. I think that they're very aware of where these teams are at. Savage from LakoNostra, though. They do knock from Team RESQ as now Bujo very low in health as Doom is going to be sending him, and they're just able to overwhelm. I mean, he just had the health advantage at that point. So Bujo goes down. Ernori at the same time also gets knocked on the side from Doom. Maybe a little bit too split up. And LakoNostra, though, heavy casualties and only 1 left alive.
Yeah, and Blast also under fire as well. Doom got this lovely, lovely position. Blood, the only member of Rescue, currently constantly been hunted by Doom, to be honest, this game. Still holding up. May look for a bit of revenge for the start of this game. But for now, just going to try and hold that high ground and stay out of the way as Shockwave are about to lose one of their players here. Tiger knocked, and TSC should just be able to finish this one up. There it is. And TSC also now starting to pick up a couple of kills. They got 4 kills. They're in a good place right now. And we are starting to see the revival of the bottom end of the table.
Yeah, if TSC can come and flush out 69 from the compound, they're going to be able to have that really, really wonderful spot in the circle and not have to share it with anyone. But we have Team Storm. They still need to get in. I mean, their entry is that first compound there. So if 69, yeah, I was going to say, if TSC is now keeping it, they definitely want to gatekeep Storm. Storm is coming off the back of a win from the previous game. Their momentum is just at an all-time high. Duos watching, just hard peeking that door, waiting for Marley, the leader of TSC, to peek on out and hopefully get a knock. And that is going to be the entry to send it in. But we got ads in the blue doing the med strat. I mean, we have 12 teams left alive, but as we can see on the map, only like 3 are actually in the circle. Everyone else is just med stratting out in the blue.
And that might just be a kill for Marley. No, he has to reload. He ran out of ammo.
Yeah.
His team should be able to finish him up. Blossom gets eliminated while we're watching this fight. And the last member of Shockwave just prone off in the distance. Look at the positions right now of these teams. If this circle shifts towards that hill, Doom are in such an advantageous position.
Oh.
There goes LakoNostra. Knocked out as XTEAM are able to finish that one off. RESQ will also be knocked out at the same time. I believe that might have just been some full damage, to be honest. XTEAM dropping as well. And just like that, everybody's starting to fade away. Panda with 3 kills and 1 member left still in this. I think we're just med-stratting out in the distance as Savage gets eliminated as well. TSC just hovering the edge. The circle has favored Doom on this hill. And this could get really messy for some of these teams. There's no way up the hill.
There's no way up. There's no way up unless they come around to the left-hand side, but that's not happening here. TSC. Shockwave, he's the last one player left alive. He's like, don't count me out yet, but he's getting shot in the distance from 69. TSC kind of in a tough spot. They don't know exactly what's going on here. Looks like ads most wanted losing the med strat, going out in 7th position as Shockwave, Termix on the outside. Everyone is med stratting at this point. The blue zone doing way too much damage, being a 7th circle, but the grenade from actually he naded himself and his teammate.
He just took him and his teammate
so
out.
TSC self-sabotage out in 5th place. Actually, I think it was 6th place because Storm went out just after them. Shockwave. I mean, the survivability level on this guy is like level 100 because he's able to. I think he was able to crawl up into at least a 4th place position. But again, Doom, we still have Panda. Lynn, we thought Panda was done for, but he's still left alive.
He's actually managed to kind of loop around the back. Might be able to find himself some nice high ground here. Doom have farmed up 10 kills, and this is just going to be the end of Shockwave. How are Panda placing in 2nd here?
No. What? Who
what is going on? They don't know where he is. He's a ninja.
I mean, he's coming. I mean, there's no way. I think
there's no
Panda.
way.
I mean, it's a circle. Okay, yeah, there's no way because he's at some point. I would love to see how many meds. He's got 19 first aids, and he's just slowly making his crawl in. I mean, for him, I would put his gun away because I can take that animation of putting the gun away can take time away from your meta. But it's like 8th phase. Oh my god, 17 first aids, Hip Rain.
He's cool. I mean, he's still in trouble, and I don't think they're going to be able to take first here. But even so. He's buying so much time. Sanhok not going out in a bang. Maybe a little bit of a whimper, but it's a whimper of a plaster.
Maybe a little poof. Maybe a little poof. Just a little bit of wind. Just how to med strat 101.
Oh, this is probably just stretching for Doom because they don't know where he is. They probably just assume he's not even remotely close to them right now.
At some point, if he, no, he's not even close. They can't even hear him. I was saying maybe they could hear the little shuffling that he's doing, the medding, but he's not even close enough. Blue zone. I guess he could like somehow get it.
They're looking the opposite direction as well. They're like actually looking in the opposite way from where he is. They're just assuming, why would he not be down there? That's where everyone was.
Yeah.
Wait, he's actually going to make it to the blue.
Is he? Oh my god! Wait, I mean, how many meds does Doom have? I want to see this. Like, if Lynn could somehow pull this one off, this would be the med strat of the century.
I know they have none. At least one of the players has none. I saw that, but I don't think he's. There it is. No. Okay, Doom picked the win.
There it is.
What a game! What a game from Panda. I don't really understand what happened there, to be honest, Monica. He was so far out the circle, and then everybody wiped each other out. And it's like, wait, there's a Panda player still.
Literally, Sanhok is the only map that you could possibly do this on. Erangel, Miramar, you can't really do this as much. Just the damage is just like ever so slightly less on Sanhok that you can do it. And like I said, remember Lynn or Panda, they were so far out, but I said around that compound, around the road, there are so many bodies littering the road here. He just went through all of them, collected his, he started with like 19, probably more than that actually. Let's say 20 first aids, and he just slowly, just like shrugged all the way in until the blue zone finally, I think it just went to the next one, did a little bit too much damage to actually med strat anymore. And so Doom is just like, oh, okay, I guess we won. I don't really know what happened.
Big win for Doom. Honestly, let's have a look at the
Big
match
one.
standings at the end of that game and see what points were earned for our teams. Obviously, Doom going to be taking that first place, 25 points on the board for them, 10 kills and the 15 from the placement points. Panda got 15 points. I don't understand how that happened. Shockwave, honestly, a pretty good game for them as well. Ones that are jumping out to me are both SWAT 69 and TSC Legends. Both two teams who are fairly low in the standings right now. Most Wanted making top 8 again. It feels like this is 2 games in a row where Most Wanted have kind of just got a little bit of points on the board. Just a little bit of something. As we take a look at the bottom end of the rankings and see where our bottom 8 teams earned their points. Yeah, Clear, they had a pretty good start to today and a pretty good end to yesterday. This game wasn't quite so good for them.
It's Clear. It seems like Clear needs to channel some of the consistency from Panda, because Clear, they were before the last game, like they won Erangel the last game, match 5 yesterday, and they went from like 16th place to like 5th place. But it seems here that they're having a really difficulty like keeping that, like it's very inconsistent. I mean, if you take out that win, they're pretty consistent, you know, like kind of not having a lot of points, but they're the kind of team that really relies on, hey, the one outstanding win here or there to make those massive volatile jumps on the standings, versus Panda is just like real, just like, I mean, even kill, just like placement kills, and then just this insane med off on Sanhok to get 2nd place.
I think consistency is going to be key, especially after the next game, because then we're halfway through the qualifiers at that point. And if you're in the bottom half by the end of game 3 today, you're looking at the teams who have been consistently good for the first half. If they keep that up even for half of the games remaining, the odds of you catching them is going to be very, very low, unless you have some absolutely amazing games. So from now on, needs to be about consistency for these teams, because, you know, LMV, really underwhelming performance. Yes, they had a pretty good start to the day, but outside of that, not particularly all that impressive. Panda, bad start to the day, but then we saw them kind of return to form. You know, maybe not full Panda form, but, you know, still pretty good placement there at the end of the day. But we are starting to see today, some of these teams have warmed up from yesterday, coming in and seeing some, you know, some good adaptation. Doom getting that win there is going to be really, really big for them, and that's going to slingshot them up the standings. And that's what they need to be looking for right now, because I believe they started today. I've got it on my other monitor, so excuse me as I look over here. Yeah, Doom team were 9th. So they were just out of the cusp of that qualifying spot. After the last 2 games, they should be in the top 8. I don't know where. I don't think it'll be massively high. We're probably looking like 6th or 7th, if I take a healthy guess. But definitely a big, big pickup for them there to be able to find that win. And with so many kills, had a brilliant position on top of that ridge. Nobody could get up the vertical hill. Well, not, you know, you can't climb hills. There's no grappling hook in PUBG. So, you know, brilliant stuff there for them.
Not grapple.
Yeah, true. You know, great game for Doom. Really necessary game for them, to be completely honest with you. Monica, we're going back to Erangel for the next game. What were we expecting, really?
We're expecting I mean, if we have a kind of an even kill circle, it will be pretty kind of very reminiscent of yesterday. But the first game today, we had a pretty kind of crazy plane path, and then it went down to the military base. But we shall see, Hiprain, after we come back from a short break, and we'll dive right into match 3, Erangel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the PMPL Qualifiers, day number 2. We ended the last game on a little bit of a weird one, as Panda managed to med-strap their way into second, while everybody else just slaughtered each other effectively. I don't think that's going to be working here. And I actually do want to take a quick moment to talk about Panda, because I don't think, even though that was a good placement from them, I don't think they've been playing as good as we saw them in day number 1. Day 1, they were very aggressive. They were racking up high kill counts. They were racking up high placements. They got knocked out very early in our first game of the day, and then kind of just cheese-stratted their way through the second game. It worked, and the points are there. I can't really argue against it. But, you know, this isn't the same level of Panda we saw yesterday versus what we're seeing today, right?
Yeah, definitely. They just super dominating. 2 wins yesterday versus here. It just feels like they're just kind of like penny picking like the points where they can. And just kind of funny, I did message Panda, Lynn, and GK first before this like just now, and I asked them, I was just like, how many first aids, like how many do you think you use that entire game? And Lynn is like, I guess around 50 or so, because they came that compound, that road that was like on the west side of that island, and they just kind of grabbed all the first aids off all of the bodies and just meted their way in. And we said, you know, they did have the potential to potentially win, because Doom had literally 0 meds, but second place, I think they're pretty happy with that one. But anyway, moving on to Erangel, and looks like pretty. It's very similar to I think the first game yesterday. It's like pretty much down the center.
This is probably a bit of a sigh of relief coming out from some of our teams here, to be honest with you, as like, they're all going to start to should be able to drop it where they like to be dropping. I think it's LMV you like to go to Primorsk, so they got a little bit of a glide over, but it's not too bad for them. And yeah, this is a pretty standard playing path. We'll see what the circle is, because it could get a little bit weird depending on the circle's placement, especially if we're looking at you know, Stalber or somewhere like that. Could really force, you know, these military-based teams all the way up, and they might just be playing catch-up the whole time. Although it looks like multiple teams are dropping over this military-based area.
Yeah, we got Storm, we got Blast, LMV. I think they're probably going to go just beyond the bridge. I think they can just long jump it just there, get the cars, and then rotate already the Primorsk area. But actually, Blast, I think one player being a little, actually maybe two players being a little bit greedy. I think they're going to get heavily punished for this one. And we got very central circle, like right centered on Pachinki. So we might have 5T. When we saw this game yesterday, we saw 5T just kind of go into the church that was just on the outskirts of Pachinki and just hold their center position. Here, I wouldn't be surprised if they moved just a little bit north, the compounds between them and school. But yeah, I think our earliest bet for action is going to be this duo from Blast, who like very greedy, we're just going to spread, you know, across the entire island. And then 69, SWAT 69, actually kind of surprising they didn't go to Yasnaya and they came down here where it was supposedly free.
They are now at that numbers disadvantage. Nemo found out SnowX. Phoenix sees him as well. And they are going to throw out some Molotovs, try and flush them out, force them out from their position, and see if they can get some chip damage. SnowX is going to take a couple of shots. He's going to have to retreat back for now, but already lost half that health. And there's the knock. Here's going to be first blood. Easy pick up there.
He had a revolver.
69.
Wait, he had a barrel, but he had the revolver whipped out to take this. I think he was just so confident because the rest of his team was there. He's like, there's no way I die here. I just whip out the pistol revolver and everyone else just had his back, sort of thing. But I mean, SnowX, he's their leader. He's kind of the duo to Razor. Like that's kind of the Tom to the Jerry. But I mean, right now they're kind of like, dang, we like should probably do as a duo shouldn't have run here. He only has the K9 and the Uzi, so definitely not the guns that you want to have trying to take a 1 versus 4 fight. Razor's just gonna back off, look for one of the car spawns along the roadside maybe, and just go back to military base to reunite with the rest of his team.
Yeah, let's will be the plan. Has found a boat, but that's not going to get you to the military base.
Well, jet ski.
XTEAM got a whole place to themselves. Going to be able to farm up a storm. I believe when I looked at the map, I saw that Panda had spread out again, which was a bit interesting because we've seen a lot of that today from Panda, where they split into 2 groups. It looks like that, again, has been their game plan. I don't know if they dropped near anybody else, but it's been a bit of an interesting one for them. But again, Swat 69 have definitely been a wrench in the works for every team because I don't think they've been consistently dropping at the same place. They've done a couple of times, but like it feels like they do sometimes just randomly decide to drop somewhere completely different and nobody's expecting it, and then suddenly they find themselves in a fight with another team. And that's kind of been their play styles. They've been very aggressive. They've been looking just to take elimination points, and so far, it's not been awful for them, but they're definitely not in that top 8.
For sure. Okay, we got our hilarious Medstrat team. Mr. Lin just 51st days. I mean, it's good for him that they came in that late, I guess, and they just had so many bodies to loot off of. But I'm so like I just want to see the reaction from some of the teams, and especially Chad just kind of went crazy with just seeing that. This is again, I said Sanhok's probably the only one you can do this on a map for, and we definitely saw this in PMGC from Nigma Galaxy. They just, I think Sanhok, almost every Sanhok, they ended up med battling until like almost like top 3 every single Sanhok just by doing this kind of med strat.
Yeah. Well, for now, I'm rocking the 1 med, so not particularly going to be able to do that. Also, like you said, take different damage. It ticks a little bit more here, so can't quite pull that one off. 5 threats. Looks like for now they've done their looting. They're going to try and move on. Although I think they're okay as far as positions go because they are right in Pachinki where the circle is closing in on LMV. Not as spread out as before, although I'm not entirely sure where Hidan is. And we saw that yesterday from Hidan, just kind of dropping separate from the team, almost being like a semi-scout and sometimes a bit of a nuisance. So we'll see, where Hidan is, whether or not he's just gathering vehicles, got his own loot. But the main group of LMV are together right now. And LMV, great starts to the day. Sanhok was brutal for them. They did not achieve much on that at all. And it's really on them to try and be able to pull themselves back into this game because, I know we've been saying it and we're going to say it all weekend long, so buckle down. We expected a lot more from this team. We really did. We had high hopes for them. We thought they've been playing together for a long time. We thought they would be one of the top teams to watch, and they have been consistently placing very low, getting knocked out, and it has been costing them heavily.
Yeah, talent on the team. He's one of the players that does have that global level experience playing in Peacekeeper Elite Championship. That's where I met him about 2 years ago in Shanghai, China. We also have another player in the lobby. I want to say it's from TSC. I want to say one of their players, Marley. Probably one of the more experienced players in the lobby, having been played on Team Godsent in PMGC last year. But everyone on the team, they do have PMPL. Most of the people in this lobby do have some sort of PMCO, PMPL previous season experience. But Team Savage, they're going to be taking the comp. So this is the compound that I thought 5T might want to take, but looks like they didn't take it quite yet. LakoNostra rotating on past from the kind of the shelter kind of mansionish area. One player is under fire from Samore 20. As they're going to be finding the compound actually, we have iNows finding the one player. This is a scout from LakoNostra, and he's going to be 1 HP. Nori calling for the rest of his team. Doesn't get shot in the back from the M249 as the rest of his team a little bit late, but does do a drive-by. 5T now swarming on this northern side and preventing LakoNostra to infiltrate their city.
5T have been an interesting team because points-wise, they've not been doing that amazing, but we've seen these glimmers, these moments of real promise from them. I think back to the first game of the qualifiers where they held down on the church on that high ground, and they were in a really good position the whole game, and I had high hopes for them. And then the rest of the day was, fairly lackluster. They had a couple of okay showings, but there's just these moments from them where you're like, 5 Threats are actually quite a threatening team.
Definitely. I know. I guess five. They're now trying to start to shape up, right? Like I said, their starters, Lelouch and Inaus are part of the team coming in on day 2. Like a couple of these teams, they did have their starters yesterday. You know, it starts at 11:30 a.m. for them. Some do have prior work commitments, but now have joined on the weekend. So 5 threats. I was hoping for them maybe use the first kind of games as a little bit of a warm up. But we do see that central, right around the school, kind of Pochinki area. Super clustered right now as the circle is about to close one more time. I'm expecting, it's like a little bit off to the side. I was expecting kind of really centered on Pochinki, but you'll probably see 5T or some team taking that Pochinki hill, because that's definitely the most ideal spot within the circle.
Okay. Found themselves the nameless, but not going to be able to find a knock onto any of those members. Definitely good for LMV, where the circle is pretty close to them, means they can set up and buckle down if they want. Panda, again, dropping, just south of Zaki. So they've got a bit of a ways to go. RESQ are actually in front of them as well on the map. So you may see a bit of scrapping between those two teams. And, both those teams have been fairly high performing as well. So, if we lose one of them early, that can really shake up the standings, especially if it's someone like Panda. Because, they've been having pretty good shows, but, pretty good games. But the last Erangel, not particularly all that great. So they're looking definitely to try and make a return, make a recovery. Because all they really need is a really good couple of games today. And then top 8 is pretty much guaranteed. It's not mathematically guaranteed, but, like, there's a very good chance that they at least qualify if they have, 2 really good games today.
Yeah, definitely. Most Wanted now coming. So Most Wanted, this is definitely a little bit better of a circle for them, just because it is centered on the main. Actually better for basically everyone except for Blast and Storm Gaming. The Most Wanted coming in from kind of like, they do like this kind of big split, like very similar split to LakoNostra. They're kind of neighbors over there, but finally coming in on the eastern side. Looks like just hugging the cliff side. I think this is a very south part of the circle, so still kind of just avoiding most of these teams. But yeah, this is more just like a use the first circle, get your information, figure out where the teams are, and just kind of really remember where the playing path was, where the previous circle was, and just try to guess, where is the less congested side of the circle, and just do a wide sweep rotate after the first circle. That's kind of the strategy for these more edge teams that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a more chill start. We had the action at the beginning. But this is kind of what we expect from this map. The first couple of circles, mostly just going to be gather your vehicles, get your resources, get set up, maybe find a chip, maybe find the odd person you can take out, as Storm are looking to do that onto Doom, the winners of the previous lobby. Seeing if they can find Fosti, who was one of those players who survived right up until the end. And Storm wasn't amazing. They got knocked out, in that last cluster, but placement-wise, wasn't particularly great for them. So looking like, actually, as far as the meds go, not particularly doing amazing for Storm. So they're actually just going to opt out of this fight. Think it's probably not worth it. Want to go back and make sure they can gather up more resources towards these later fights anyway.
Doom back into I think they might have like PTSD from these compounds, because that's the exact compound that they got 1 versus 4 by Cyox from Team XTEAM. So very daring to go back to this area. But we have the circle blue zone about to pop one more time. Most of these teams, they're kind of taking similar positions. Savage in the exact same compound they were before. Panda low. Okay, so this is very similar to that first game we had yesterday. It's just a little bit more favoring the southeast side of Pochinki instead of the northwest side. But I mean, I'm loving. Look at TSC's split here, having the 2 different hills, lots of area to cover here. I'm just worried for them, because we got the teams all of a sudden, everyone in their vehicles sending it, and they are 2 different prime positions here, so they need to make sure they hunker down, defend from all the teams from all around them.
I mean, 5 threats as well. Buckled down on the church once again on that high ground. Circles closing in on them. We really are getting a repeat of the last game. Actually, it looks like Panda really just kind of bombed it down towards the rest of the teams, and they're going to probably get into some action fairly soon here. Everybody converging on the circle, other than RESQ, who are taking their time to get a nice rotation and a nice kind of position. As you can see Panda have this high ground versus Conqueror. Conqueror obviously very much aware of the fact Panda are here. But expect to see some action because Panda probably wanted to try and get a bit of a recovery as far as the eliminations go from the last couple of games. There's action's already starting to break out onto this third circle.
Yeah, TSC up above. Still the duel on this side of the hill. The other one's still pushed out. I'm not sure how, but Panda, so quick with the rotation, actually able to rotate in front of Conqueror. Like, Conqueror really should have taken that spot on the hill. But we do see Hisek finding a knock onto Team Panda. This is up to Lid now to come on back. He's like, okay, I mean, they have the high ground. It's favorable for them. It's going to be very easy for them to go for the revive. But 69, actually, Team Conqueror needs to shift their attention onto this team that has crashed onto them. Either team. Actually, we only have Pogba knocked right now. It's going to throw the nade just outside the window. A little bit too long. Should have low tossed one just outside the window because the guy's there. Phantom trying to do a drop shot, but does fail that one. So Phantom knocked right now and under fire.
This is a very scrappy fight here within this compound, but Squad 69 are the ones with the man disadvantage, but they're still looking for the first spray. Phoenix he gets himself a knock. He's actually doing so much work for the team. Can he get his teammate up in time? Might just hold for the moment. Gonna get himself the gun out, and most of Conqueror are knocked right now. Phoenix and Nemo with the 2 versus 4. It's only Itachi, but he's been able to pick up Phantom, and he's going to try and see if he can get another teammate up. Got that frag to go, got the grenade. Can he try and get the damage off? Phantom going to peek around the corner. That's going to be the knock. Phoenix is going to go down as well, and Conqueror have just about clutched this fight in their favor. Should be able to get their friends up. Should be able to finish up these members of Squad 69. Wow.
I'm really not sure why... Swat 69, why he wouldn't stick the revive on his teammate, because clearly the other team is not pushing him. They're going for the revive as well, but you heard him kind of try to bait the guy out. He pulled the nade, put it away, but we do have the circle closing this time on the hillside. TSC, I mean, I'm glad they're able to survive this. They need to just like come in a little bit closer, but they definitely do. Like, best spot in the circle by far is going to TSC. It's probably going to come out of the city and land kind of right around where that crate is. I see that. I love that TSC is now coming off Pachinki Hill, coming to the hill across the roadside. I really think TSC is going to end up in this final circle, probably a top 5 finish from them. Panda out, actually.
Panda just got knocked out. They had a good position on the hill there.
RESQ. It was RESQ.
Wow. RESQ coming up absolutely huge, knocking out the front runners. Panda. It has not been an amazing game day 2 for Panda. Yes, we could say they got a great placement at the end of the second game, but realistically, they are losing people very quick into these games without really gaining much for it. Panda didn't find a single kill. They're getting 0 points from this game. And that is going to be an absolute godsend for Shockwave, for Storm, for RESQ, for the teams that are trying to catch up to them. And RESQ being able to take out all of these members as well. Absolutely huge for them. Swat 69, I can speak, I promise. Only got the single player, the single elimination. So this could get a little bit harder for them. And it does that our 5 threats have kind of dropped that position on the hill and have dropped down into the city with everybody else's. Looks like it could just be ending in the buildings here in Pachinki, depending on how this circle is going to be going down. As there could be a knock coming in. Savage doing so much damage there onto one of the members of 5 threats. There's only 3 of them left as well.
Yeah. Lelouch finding the angle onto Savage. Flick just keeping him down. X Team finding onto Shockwave in the distance, as X Team is also fighting onto Blast. So X Team just really just in the middle of all of the action on the other side of the circle. Savage still scanning out as Team Conqueror out into the fields and RESQ. So RESQ, they took over Panda's position. TSC left to go across the bridge. Now RESQ is taken up onto Pachinki Hill. But X Team, they just took out Team Blossom, and Blossom was the one that I was like, yeah, they have the top fragger back for today, but they still haven't really had much to show for it, and they're going to be the second team to go out of the circle, or out of this match actually, and back into the lobby.
Oh, TSC got this high ground here over Most Wanted. Doom having a fight versus LMV right now as well. LMV, again, very quiet game for them so far. They still got all of their members. As Perks is going to get knocked. Action trying to see if he can get this finish up here. They're throwing the nades through the window. They're looking for the knocks. They're looking for this bit of bonus damage, but they haven't quite hit it. That's going to be Swat 69 getting taken down, but the fight's breaking out for LMV versus Doom. They're looking for the spray, trying to get this killed. Doom is solo. Frosty he's got himself a nice little advantage through this window on the high ground, as Merit's going to drop down, try and take out Talon, able to get the knock onto him and finish him up as well. Beautiful stuff coming out from here. Team Doom really showing up right now, as that's going to be another knock, another finish. And LMV are eliminated. Doom coming into day number 2 on fire right now.
Yeah, winning the last game and then just taking this team fight, 4 kills to show for it, and they've got a pretty clear. I figure this circle would come off of Pachinki and land right onto TSC. So I mean, I think you have a little bit of the little trenches kind of in the field right where Storm and LakoNostra are at, but it's really just wide out in the open here. It's going to be TSC to farm the kills now of all the teams, and it's going to be really tough for Savage. And we just saw 5 threats. Antho knocking one from Team Savage as they try to disengage from Pachinki and wrap all the way around Storm and LakoNostra. They can literally smell each other right on next to each other as Team Shockwave gets a knock onto XTEAM. And this is going to be the battle on the north side and the northwest, where all these teams are trying to come in. And it's, again, TSC. No one can really pressure their position at this point, except for Doom in the back.
Well, Savage are going to get knocked out in the meanwhile, as Shockwave going to be able to find himself a kill, but one of their teammates has been knocked. Taking this fight versus, I believe that was Most Wanted. I didn't quite check, but there's a lot of teams nearby. So it's getting scrappy. Again, we are into that. I think it's the 4th circle right now, maybe the 5th. As everything's getting tighter and teams are getting way scrappier right now.
Got XTEAM, Getty. First one just made his way in, has the trees. Like you can see, it's just all pretty much open. TSC, yeah, I'll say, the only one that can really pressure them at this point, the only team that's nearby them is going to be Doom. Looks like they did get the entry knock onto TSC. I'll be a little bit too far away, and TSC, I think they just don't want the heat here. Marley just trying to find a little bit more central of a position, calling everyone, just leave Albie behind. They can focus on him. And literally a lizard cutting its tail off, you know, and using that as a distraction. And they're using that, and they're getting in the circle. Now Doom shifting their attention away from TSC and onto Most Wanted on the other side of the field. Mert down to 5 HP, needing to get prone and needing to heal up as Most Wanted. This could be, this could be the game that we're waiting for from Most Wanted, because we haven't seen much from them yet in this tournament.
No, we really haven't. It's been a very lackluster performance so far. All 5 members up. Shockwave have been taken out. A lot of our front runners are going out of this game right now, but you still got Clear. You still got Rescue here in the running, and XTEAM as well, being a team who kind of snuck up on everyone at the end of yesterday and placed fairly high. Also in a pretty good position right now. Doom, though, having an absolutely amazing couple of games back-to-back. All 4 members up, 6 kills on the board, and they're in a pretty okay position. They're taking this fight versus Most Wanted, and at the moment it is just a grenade, smoke, and Molotov fight for these 2 teams. They're just throwing everything out, trying to get a nice position to get that spray down onto each other and trying to knock the others out. The circle closes, and they may just have to give up their position, but it isn't going to be a free rotation. Whoever goes first is going to get shot right in the behind, as Most Wanted are coming actually from behind, bringing the vehicles around. Action's laying down, trying to stay prone, trying to stay unnoticed for the moment, but Rescue can also close in and pincer onto Doom, so this could get really messy for Doom in the moment.
Yeah, Doom, another knock from Hardiman from Most Wanted. This could open it up. Action, he is knocked as well, so it's going to be only 2 left alive, but one does get knocked from Frosty to stop the push from Most Wanted, hopefully. So right now, almost a perfect nade. It knocks 2 Action. There's only going to be 1 left alive, and that is going to be 1 player from Doom. Looks like it's going to be Mert, as Most Wanted are starting to swarm. Hardiman quickly going for the information wrap. You saw him just do a complete 360 around him as Hyper Rescue. We're begging for Team Rescue to finally get some points here, as they might be able to third party. Whoever wins this fight here, Most Wanted again, driving through the midst, and I think he's just like, I'm just gonna let the vehicle do all the work for me. Rolling, I mean, he's about to get knocked here, but he's just here to collect the information. But the first nade right at the end does position now. It takes Doom out in ninth position.
Hyper's a vulture in this fight. He is just picking them up. Like, the two teams are focused on each other, and Hyper's just taking out the members of Doom. And look at this now. Rescue 9 kills. They have got 2 players left, though, so they are running a little bit low. And that grenade actually did a little bit of damage to Eren. Got 1 member knocked, and Eren trying to get to safety as Rescue just trying to mop up a couple more kills, trying to get these points in their favor. Looking for the revival here from Eren, and will be able to get his team up in time. But this fight is going to get really, really messy right now as Claire on the other side of the circle taking another fight, and it's the Nameless. They are now pincered on 3 fronts inside that in that ditch for the moment.
Yeah,
this is very hard.
This is definitely I was just gonna say this is a sandwich for them, but it's kind of a good sandwich because they're in between multiple teams, so no one can just run over and shoot down them because they're going to be keeping them all away from each other. That's pretty much like what's going on with LakoNostra right now. But Storm Gaming, they do go out, but yeah, it's hip rain. Look at this northern side of the circle, and there's only 2 teams down in the south. Yeah,
I mean, we've actually seen Rescue drop down to just, I believe it's Hyper now, as their only player left. So
look at the circle.
It's going to be hard. They've got the most kills in the lobby, but Hyper, he knows XTEAM is very much aware of his position, and they're going to keep their eyes on him to make sure that he doesn't just come around from behind them and try and pick up a couple more cheeky kills. Okay. Being one of the top players here for Claire, going to get knocked. And that is going to be the end of Claire, taken out of the standings. As Rescue's just jumped up to 11 kills. I'm not entirely sure where that came from.
Yeah. I mean, they're third-partying the hell. Yeah, they're just third-partying just everywhere, all these fights around them.
They really are. This is literally just Rescue playing for, like, just to try and mop up the kills. They're taking out downed players, and it's doing them wonders. They've got into top 6 right now off the back of that. Eren, though, is going to look to try and stop Hyper. If Hyper is dealt with, suddenly they're going to find themselves in an amazing position. And that is going to be it. Rescue will go down. 15 points gain, and Most Wanted now have a pretty good position at the top of this hill, although XTEAM are about in the area as well. Marley taking a whole lot of damage from Ghoul. And now Ghoul going to get downed. Eren going to get down in response as well. Getty trying to get the kill onto Hardman. And it's low health bars for both of them. But that is going to be Most Wanted, taking out TSC. Hardman, not alone, just needs to get up his teammate. But he's going to look to try and heal first. As it's actually going to blow up the vehicle, make sure no one's going to be able to deal with that. And it's got himself a nice little position here with that rock and the vehicle to hide behind. Gonna look for the kill on the down there from Itachi. And that is going to be the end of Most Wanted. 3rd position for them. 17 points. A very needed good round for the side of Most Wanted. And that, just like that, the Nameless are going to take the chicken dinner at the end of that round. Everyone just got knocked out instantly. I was preparing for a final fight, and then suddenly our top 4 teams just instantly all fall over like dominoes. That was a scrappy map there for game number 2. Free.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, LakoNostra, he only had Savage left alive, so he just kind of like tried to get in at the end, but it was going to be Conqueror actually to get the last kill on him. So Conqueror, I mean, these are the last 3 teams left alive, were all the 3 teams kind of towards the bottom of the standing. So any of those teams that would win, it would just kind of shoot them up onto the leaderboard. So it's going to be Conqueror to collect the 15 points in placement. But I mean, Rescue was the one I really wanted to point out there, because they're able to have that positioning, and they're able to just third party. I mean, that's what you want, right? You want to be not the two in a third party situation. You want to be the team that is kind of like off to the side, and then you're kind of taking advantage of those knocks, stealing the kills, and then they were, aggressing onto Most Wanted. That was pretty low in health after that. But let's look into the match rankings. We've got Conqueror, 26 points, 11 kills to show for it. Actually, Rescue matching the same number of kills in terms just 11 kills, but just had a little bit less in placement. So Conqueror, I mean, this is the win that they finally got. And LakoNostra, a 2nd place, 5 kills to be had for them and 17 points total. Most wanted. Actually, so most wanted, they died earlier than LakoNostra, but able to get a little bit more kills and actually tie them in points, Hiprain.
Yeah. Most wanted got 12 points at the beginning of the day as well. So they're actually really slingshotting themselves up the standings. And with you, when you see Shockwave, when you see Storm, when you see Panda, kind of not having the greatest day, I am so excited to see the overall standings because things are going to get really shaken up. Let's have a look at the second half of the match ranking and just see the bottom end of the table to kind of get a clear vision of where we are. As Clear got himself 4 points. Another team who are doing very good at the beginning of the day. Panda 0 points. LMV 0 points. Blossom 0 points. A lot of the teams in this bottom 8 are teams who are currently in the top 8 at the overall standings. So this has really shaken things up going into our 4th match. And map 4 yesterday was where things got really changed up, and we saw a very different switch out of some of these teams. This is where Clear found their footing, to be fair, as well. So I am so excited to go into map 4. But for now, I think we're going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be back with game number 4. We'll see you in a moment. Hello everybody and welcome back to the PMPL qualifiers. Somehow this day is flying past and we are on to our fourth game of the day. Let's bring up the scoreboards and take a look at where we are now, over halfway through the day.
Overall.
Standing at the top, it is still Team Panda, 104 points. However, they have been heavily closed in on.
Yeah, I mean, Panda, they just had such a great start to yesterday, and you definitely want to be in a position like Panda, like Shockwave, where like we had such a great first day. The rest of the matches are kind of like just keeping it there. Like even if we die early, it's okay, sort of thing. You don't want to be in the boat of like the teams at the very bottom, because then they're like, wow, this is like every game, it's make or break. We have to get back those points. So here we still have Panda and Storm actually over Shockwave. So Shockwave just has not had that great of a day, but they were in second place yesterday and Storm was in third. So now how the turntables.
Just to put into perspective, Shockwave had earned 16 points today. That is it.
Yeah.
Shockwave started today with 70 points. So it has not been a great day for them. RESQ have climbed up one spot. They were in fifth, so they swapped with Clear Vision. RESQ have had a really, really good day. Doom have gone from 9th to 6th right now. Savage have actually just held where they are, and same for XTEAM. So those two teams still staying where they were, but for the most part, there has been a bit of a shift. I want to see the second half though, because I am really, really curious about some of these teams who are lower down at the beginning of the day and how they're doing. So let's bring up the second half of the rankings and see what the lower half is doing, because Five Threats starting to climb themselves back up. They were in 6th. Sorry, no, Five Threats weren't in 6th. Yeah, they were. Five Threats were in 6th, but they have dropped pretty heavily. It's Conqueror have really impressed me. They've gone up the standings a little bit for themselves. Most Wanted have gone from last to 12th. LMV at the bottom. That is very unexpected, considering what we were saying at the beginning of the day. Yesterday, sorry.
Yeah, I think they just haven't found their groove. Maybe just, I don't know. Like I'm not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, we have teams dropping down from the top to the to this bottom second half, which is Five Threats, but then Conqueror, who was kind of in that bottom 2-ish spot, now jumping up to 53 points. And do you remember how many points 8th place had? It's like, what is the difference between 8th and 9th?
Place, what? Oh, today, right now, I can't remember, but it's pretty close. It's very
looks
close.
Like it's 57. Right. So there's only a 3-point difference actually. So yeah, so it's pretty. That's one game that they get. One more squad wipe than the previous game.
I genuinely think TSC Legends upwards could actually end the day in that top 8 if they have a couple of good games. And Most Wanted, a very needed good game for them, has really pulled them up halfway through that bottom half of the table, and now they're slowly getting closer and closer towards that top. So Miramar was where everything changed yesterday. It genuinely could change again today. the ending of that game was only Panda and then 4 teams at the bottom. So it really changed things up. Clear were one of those teams who were able to make their way into the top 8 after Miramar. Same for RESQ as well. This could really be it. This could be a big shift, and I want a big shift. I like it when everything stays tight and close until the end because it makes things, really exciting going into day number 3, right? So Miramar, bigger map. We saw some action, some long range fights going in that map. So hopefully we have a more interesting playing path because yesterday it was just along the south. And let's see.
Yep, and it's once more again, almost exactly the same. This pilot was just like, this is literally just like a pilot on his usual route. Like, we're just gonna take you, ladies and gentlemen, down the exact same plane path. So remember yesterday, the one team that we saw struggle really at the beginning, it's a little bit further north, but the one team that we saw kind of struggle was LakoNostra. Remember, they kind of split loot right kind of around in the Monte Nuevo power grid-ish area. And they were caught up by, I think it was like Swat 69 from like another team. And they ended up having only maybe one player left alive right at the beginning of the match. Did not have like the greatest of starts in Miramar yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, teams are starting to evacuate. I believe there's one member of is that XTEAM still in the plane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there they go.
Yeah.
They're going to be quite separated from the rest of the team. Oh, there's 2 members in there. No, don't worry. I'm wrong. It's a different shade of purple. I'm an idiot. Ignore me. Oh, that's the same shade of purple. So one of the 5 threats players has dropped out a little later than the rest of the team, and they could be sharing with I believe that's Shockwave actually. So that could be a little bit risky for those couple of players. Everybody else looks to be heading up in the more northern direction. Panda already down and looting in Valle de Mar. So they've been, again, Pandas keep getting handicapped by the circles because the circles seem to always be miles from where they are.
Yeah, I mean, their type of play style, like when the circle shifts really far away from them, it's okay because they have, well, we're probably going to see from Pandas, they're going to get looted up, very, taking their sweet time in Valle de Mar, and you might see them identify like, hey, there's probably nobody, just such a southern plane path with a northeastern circle. They're probably going to wide rotate all the way over to the more kind of northern northwestern side because it's definitely, I wouldn't really expect any sort of teams there. LMV, they're going for it, so they either drop in Valle de Mar or they go all the way up to the Campo Militar up in that northeast corner. So I think they stay at the end and they're like, yes, they saw the circle because they're going to be able to find, they're going to have the first cherry pickings of whatever compound, whatever best spot in the circle they want, because all the rest of the teams, it's very slow rotations on Miramar. You can go on the roadsides really but these mountains, it's just so hard to rotate in Miramar.
Yeah, especially when also, when you're not in the mountains, you're in fairly open field. So if someone's in the mountains with a good scope, you're probably going to get some pop shots taken at you. Like you were saying yesterday, if you don't have a long range gun on Miramar, you're just not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, you're just going to be like twiddling your thumbs, picking your nose in the corner of a building. Like, I can't really do much with my red dot Uzi and just like watching these teams rotate past me. Yeah, Panda, I know we keep talking about Panda, but it was just, they had such a crazy day one and they went out in 16th place last game. And we were kind of really, really surprised by that. I was just like rotating in. I think they died to the likes of RESQ, I want to say. Something like that on the Pachinki Hill. Yeah, they did.
RESQ had an amazing game last game. Just mopping up other teams' kills and just taking the points that way. And then also taking out Panda, the front runners. And, I know we talked a lot about Panda, but while they're in first, the massive lead of 17 points they had over first and second has been narrowed down to like 3 points. They really need to get their act together because there's only 2 more maps left. We got another Erangel game, which they've honestly not had particularly great showings on so far. And then Miramar, they did win this one yesterday. So let's see if they can pull the cat out of the bag, because they could lose their first spot if they continue to play like they have today. I think also same for Shockwave and for Storm. I've not been impressed by them today. They are kind of just clinging onto their position because they had a good day yesterday so far.
Yeah, the only good game that Storm had was the first game today where they won it and they kind of overcame all odds. But Storm actually, they did overcome Panda in terms of kills. So now Storm is actually the team with the most kills, not Panda. I think by maybe like 1 elimination. And I think that's like Storm not really having to do anything different in terms of like having like an outstanding kill heavy game. I think it was just Panda just not having as many kills as yesterday, and they're just, you know, increasing their eliminations at a slower pace than Storm.
Yeah, well, Panda kind of just lost 2 members at the beginning of every map so far. And then it's the eliminations they've got have been off the back of, you know, whoever's left, because they seem to be dropping out really early. They're trying to pick off these people from behind and then paying the price for it. LMV, you know, we've seen moments of greatness, especially from the likes of Perks. Perks has really impressed me, but kind of everything else has just been bad. And it feels mean to say it that way, but it genuinely has been a bad showing from LMV. They're at the bottom, yet they are the team who yesterday we hyped up the most. Yesterday, you know, and over the last couple of weeks while I've been doing research into the teams playing, they were the team that everybody was hyping up to me and the team that we had the highest expectations for. But, you know, you said maybe they were messing around at the beginning of the day, just trying to try something new, but it feels like that might not be the case. It just feels like they haven't found their groove at all.
Maybe we overhyped them and the pressure was too much. And maybe that's exactly what's happening here.
But I mean, when you see a roster that has been together for this long, you do hold the expectation that they're probably going to be pretty decent. So I don't think it's an overhype problem. I think it's, you know, they have just struggled. And, you know, we're now beyond the halfway mark into the qualifiers. And if they want to qualify, they've really got to pull it out, because it's going to be a hard fight from here. Squad 69 as well, a team who, you know, we've seen a lot of action from, and they've been very hypey to watch, but it hasn't resulted in a great standing for them, unfortunately. Great fun for us as the viewers. Points-wise, really starting to struggle right now. So, going to see a little bit more from this team. Most Wanted, honestly, a team who I think have had a very good showing after that last game. And, you know, they're not in the best position standing-wise, but we have now seen what they're capable of. And if they can continue to play like that, they can make that top 8. They can actually get into a position where they can qualify when it was looking, honestly, pretty doomed for them.
Most Wanted is actually a name that's very familiar to me, because the organizer in Europe of the Most Wanted team was friends with, in North America, where I'm from, our region, we had a Most Wanted team, literally same logo, same name and everything. So like they were friends. He was friends with the North American team, so they all just named Most Wanted. So it's a team that I've had in like my own scrims and my own events in North America, but Most Wanted for them. I'm kind of like rooting for them because they're, you know, we got twin brothers, Aaron and Hardman, that you know, Hardman's the IGL, basically, you know, just leading their team to victory. But here we do have Panda finding clear, rotating on pass, and we see Ernori actually falling out of his car. But okay, actually, the last headshot. It's so hard to shoot a guy out of his car, but to get a headshot on top of that, great stuff from Langyax.
Yeah, this is the Panda playstyle though. Stay in the blue and shoot people running to safety. This is how they get their early kills, and then they turn up onto fights. Their rotations, and they're kind of like, they're always there, but you don't actually know they're there until it's too late. But again, they're split. This is only 2 members of Panda, and that is going to be GK first getting knocked. So Clear might just be able to rotate and finish him up here. Leng's going to come over to try and get GK first back up, but where is the rest of Panda? They're so split out, and Clear are working as a unit. They're spreading out as well, so they can get multiple angles of attack onto these Panda members, as we are going to see this first circle close as well. And this could really end this fight and force Panda to try to have to give up this fight, or at least Clear to give up this fight, because that circle is shifting quite far away from them. It's very central, though. So, bit of normalcy returning to our circles as of late, as looks like Panda are actually getting a pincer maneuver on to the members of Clears. You see those 2 members closing in onto them, and they are fully pincered now down in that southern part of the map.
Yeah, we had okay. Looks like he actually threw a pan to flush this one out. But we have so Lin actually what happened was he was ahead of the rest of the team, usually the one that's kind of scout for the rest of them. Clear though, back up to 4-man strong, but finally losing one. That's gonna be RFB as Clear. I think they're not quite as comfortable with this kind of play style like Panda does, just tanking the blue out here. You know, they're definitely a little bit impatient because they're trying to get in their vehicles and try to just dip away. Versus Panda, I mean, they've lost one. I was a little scared for GK first. They're definitely their top fragger on their team to be knocked, but able to get him back up. Clear just sitting in the Chumasera church as Lang X now pushing up into the church area. I think before it was Lang. Long he had like that off angle, but did get caught out. It was very unfortunate for him. Lang up onto the rooftops, actually onto the Chumasera church. Samo just, I mean, he's just kind of like a mouse in the basement, nowhere to go, as Panda just kind of swarming all over him, as we do have an engagement breakout between Savage and LakoNostra in the distance.
Yeah, Samo has got a couple of med kits to work with. Panda, this is what we see from them. Get the kills, take the med kits, and just stay in the blue as long as possible. They are so happy. They're so comfortable to be here. However, they can't waste too much time because they are a ways away from that circle. And it looks like RESQ actually taking a fight here versus Scott 69 on this compound, as RESQ just repositioning himself into a nice position. Blood on the ground, has got himself inside the building, and that grenade could really mess him up. If PNL can find it, Blood's going to be able to avoid the blast from that, though. And they're roughly aware of where each other are.
It's like
nice
throws
little
a
nade,
nade
actually.
just inside.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, that was definitely like a 2 Michelin star type cooked nade through the window side, gets one player of rescue, and another one does get knocked. So it's going to be, I mean, Hyper and Tick, and then the 4-man team of Team 69. So rescue, I mean, had a great game last one, but this one not starting off great. Not starting off great.
Yeah, trying to kill the vehicles as well now.
All right.
Rescue, just trying to rescue their Coyote, get him out as Phoenix is coming up the hill, looking to try and find these members of Rescue. Coyote very, very low, so wants to try and get the heal off, and it looks like they're just going to say, right, you won that fight, we're going to call it. Scott 69
cut their losses at one and just go. Yeah. Okay, circle coming in. So they left Samo back there. The rest of us, so they didn't know where the individual was. Panda, I think they clearly saw a couple cars leave, so they had to know where the one was. I think they didn't want to waste any more time in that area. At this point, I would have expected to see Panda more on that northern or western side of the circle already, but they kind of got held back by Clear. Circle about to shift, the hard shift down into the southeast. So I would expect Panda to stop in their tracks, rotate around, and probably be able to identify just south of Al Zahar. It's going to be the wide open area, but you can see these teams here. Definitely that kind of northwest area is not the place to be, and it's going to be so very congested.
I actually think Panda, if they continue on their current path, are going to shift into a position they really don't want to be in, where they're going to get sandwiched from the teams from the south and the north. So could be a little bit scary for them. LMV still got all 4 members up. Hidan just scouting out for the moment. It's actually Savage who are currently leading with the amount of kills they've been able to pick up for themselves. But we are dealing with a little bit of a slower start. You do expect these on these maps. It's after this circle ends, I think, is when we're going to really start to see the action break out. It'll be a couple of scraps as Antho needs to be a little bit careful, because Shockwave will just hear them passing over, but 5 threats will be able to reconvene as a 4-man unit, sorry.
Mm-hmm. 5 threats, they're really good at that initial kind of rotation, but it's just the setting up, defending into the late game that they just can't seem to close out the games. Because we've seen them 2 Erangel games yesterday, the one by Pachinki Hill and the one down into the field just north of the Western Bridge. They had literally the best spot within the circle, but just couldn't defend, couldn't, as teams kind of start fighting with them, not playing quite aggressive enough at the end game to be able to get those 15 winner chicken dinner points. But we have Antho coming on driving, going for that high ground. Actually, I love this position from Antho because he's going to be high, that overwatch position off angle onto Shockwave, as the rest of them are going to be a little bit down below. Looks like they're going to be meeting him up there and taking the shots down onto them, as he's actually following him up there, getting a little bit closer as Savage and Storm are fighting in the distance. But again, Shockwave, I think, just took the shot, saw him go over a little bit too far away, and just backing up to rejoin the rest of his team.
Five Threats have such a good position here. The circle's not closing in on them.
Yeah.
Now they got the high ground. They're just looking to get the chip damage down. Look at the spray. Not quite precise enough shots from this height, but in a fantastic position here for Five Threats. And they've got the dips to hide the vehicles in, so they can just bunker down and get nice and comfortable up here. It's going to be very hard to force them off this hill. And Storm are getting eliminated as the first team. So again, one of our front runners not in the greatest position on day number 2.
I mean, this is favorable for Shockwave because they saw they're like, ooh, Storm Gaming, the team that is literally right above us in the overall standings, just got taken out by Savage. So this is really good for Shockwave to be able to kind of jump up to them, and they'll be even close because I think there was like a 15 point gap. Circle hard shifts over into Al Azahar. 5T once again. Come on, please. I'm begging for 5T to finally be able to win this game because they have that mountainous ridge overlooking that warehouse compound just to the southwest of Al Azahar. They literally have the best spot in the position now, as everyone is going to be, I mean, the condensed side is going to be that southeast side or southwest side of the circle now. And I mean, it's really 5T. Come on, you got to win this game at least.
Yeah, I mean, they're in such a good position to at least rack up a bunch of kill points, right? Like, they're in such a good spot. As everybody's kind of hard shifting over, Panda continue actually on the course they've been taking, as they've been kind of coasting around the west side of the circle and just slowly making their way north. It looks like they're just going to continue to do that and try and collapse on teams who are, you know, slower to rotate. And this is typically what we see from them. LMV taking a fight here with Doom, it looks like. Got this ridge to kind of hide behind on the other side. Talon being one of the front runners here for LMV, along with Perks. See if Doom are going to look to take this. Doom have had an amazing couple of games back to back as far as the action goes and the kills they've been able to accrue for themselves. So probably quite happy to stay this fight, as I'm going to take a little bit of damage here from the side, as Zero going to have to reposition.
Yeah, what you saw there was Doom continuing to wrap. I mean, that's the thing with edging, right? You can just continue to wrap. If this point is not the easiest way to get in, continue to wrap until you do find a way to shift into the circle. But Panda, yeah, we just saw one of them did get knocked, GK first, and I mean, they were able to get him up, but still 3-man strong. They continued on that western side, like you said, Hiprain. You said if they continue on the path that they were rotating on the west side of the circle, they might find themselves in a spot that they don't want to be. And right now, this is definitely where you don't want to be, because there is Conqueror, who just won the last game right in front of you. You've got XTEAM also to your northern side. This is definitely just way too many teams to prove fruitful for trying to rotate for this warehouse.
Lovely nade there. Through the door. Able to get a little bit of chip damage. It wasn't enough for the knock, but it was a good little chip damage. And yeah, I'm kind of less impressed by Panda so far today. Let's see if they can try and turn this around, because it's not been the greatest showing today. And again, it kind of falls down to they've been very split up the whole time. I don't think I've seen the 4-man unit of Panda. If you think back to the first game yesterday, it was all 4 of them just moving for this death ball, just picking people up. Yeah, and Miramar as well, actually. But this time, again, today, they've just been playing very spread out, looking to maybe take fights with numbers disadvantages and just hoping that they can outskill their opponents. And it hasn't ended too well for them. Conqueror, on the other hand, have constantly, throughout the last 2 days, been sticking together as a 5-man unit. They have a beautiful spread here where they've got Itachi on the ground to kind of keep people under fire. Then you've got Phantom, who's got the high ground to work with. And then the rest of the team have also spread out a little bit more. But now we're shifting focus to Blastem, who are taking a fight versus Scott 69. And for the moment, they've got themselves a nice little high ground here for Blastem. It's Scott 69 who have to make their way up the hill. And they should be able to do so with the vehicles, but that was a fantastic grenade, popping one of the vehicles. And that should just force them as Nemo. Been spotted out by SnowX. Now just going to try and move south through the smoke to a bit of safety. Nemo's going to put down some smoke himself to get some cover. But Blastum still have this high ground to work with.
Couple of headshots. He was sitting third-person perspective in the buggy just to like, kind of peek on over the ridge. Nemo here quickly hitting the deck, getting knocked actually blast from the distance. Now we got a 1 versus 1 69 PNL pushing behind the boulder, and they do flush out Blast actually. So Blast, they were defending their spot here and just got completely steamrolled by 69. Who, as a 3-man, were able to overcome and take Blast position on the northern side. But it doesn't even matter. The circle shifts down to the south. They're going to have to move. And now it's giving the circle to RESQ and Team 5 threats.
Yeah, it does look like Most Wanted taking a fight here versus TSC. Both of these teams started the day at the bottom of the barrel, but Most Wanted, after a phenomenal game a minute ago, are looking to try and get a little bit more as TSC just going to finish up some of these kills. Trap's going to go down as well. That's 2 members dead. TSC able to eliminate Most Wanted from the lobby. But down to 34 players, 12 teams left. So most of our teams left are fairly healthy, other than Clear, who only have that 1 player. And then Panda and Savage are down to 2. As I say that, Conqueror do lose one of their players. And it looks like Shockwave here, taking a fight versus 5 Threats, have started to make their way up this hill, and 5 Threats have to be very, very careful because Shockwave surrounding on multiple fronts. It's only 2 members though of Shockwave, while 5 Threats are working with 3. So they have got that advantage, but they're in this basin now, hiding behind their vehicles, and, you know, a good grenade could really cost them heavily here as Nightmare coming in. He's looking to knock a couple of players down. I believe he got one of them down there. He did indeed. So 2 knocked players, and it's only Lilu now who's up for the side of 5 Threats. This could just be the wipe here for the side of Shockwave, and they're going to need it. That's going to be the knock. That's going to be the elimination. Shockwave taking out the 3. Brilliant little fight there for themselves. Panda have been eliminated as well. And Shockwave, they need this. This is a really, really good game for them now.
You heard the Groza just getting TDM flashbacks here in the gun. Savage also taken out. Yeah, 5 Threats, it's like what I said. They find the best positionings, but they just don't seem to be able to defend. And Lelouch, he was the only one left alive, kind of off in the distance, as the other ones, the smoke's just a little bit too late to provide the protection from Team Shockwave. So out goes 5 Threats. The circle is about to close one more time. And we just saw RESQ blowing up the car from Phoenix and Clear being eliminated out of the circle. Now, circle closing over a little bit more on the western side. RESQ going to have a free rotation up the hillside to get in. XTEAM, though, very quick rotation from Getty, getting into the top hill, being able to look down at all the teams down below. LMV, though, still hanging on in there. At least a top 7 finish, thankfully.
Absolutely for them. Conqueror only holding on with 1 team, 1 player left. LMV, though, 4 kills, 3 players left. Getting really scrappy as Perks is going to get knocked from distance. Should be able to get to him in time. Doom able to find that knock. And this is looking like a pretty interesting circle as far as the terrain goes. Very hilly.
Yeah, definitely.
But no team really can, like, has a full control of a single hill right now. We don't know what the final circle will be. Although it does look like it is closing in on this circle, but Team Doomora currently sitting at the top as Albie getting sprayed, trying to make his way over. Doom are surrounded and only playing with 3 players right now.
Like 2.5, because one is knocked in on his knees and just kind of crawling away. TSC, yeah, I'll be just killing it on up. We have a lot of partial teams here. The only team it looks like to have a full 4 team is going to be XTEAM on the northwestern side. LMV Perks, though, gets the headshot. This is a pivotal knock, actually, and flush to take out. So Perks actually got 2 pieces, 2 kills, eliminations onto Shockwave to take them out in 7th position. So securing 1 higher placement point. Doom, though, I think maybe sent it a little bit too far in the middle because they're dead center from everyone else around them. Now coming in and cleaning up the side of TSC. Only 1 left from TSC. Not long for this world.
RESQ have been pretty quiet. Only got the 1 kill.
Yeah.
Probably late. Looking, they're taking a fight versus XTEAM, though, and looking for the knock. That should just be the follow-up as well. Ooh, on his lonesome. Ike is going to get taken down. And Nightmare just spraying into RESQ from the distance, from up the hill. That's going to force RESQ back for the moment. They were able to pick themselves up a couple of kills, though, in the meanwhile. And Nightmare now has to be very careful because pincered heavily as Conqueror will be knocked out of the lobby. We're down to 5 teams left. There's only 10 people in this lobby now. And Nightmare, the only player left for XTEAM, just hiding in the smoke in the vehicle for the moment, waiting for an opportunity to kind of reposition or maybe hoping that they lose interest in him. As LMV downhill, getting sprayed onto, and Doom with this high ground, just trying to finish up the last player for the side of XTEAM. You can see in the smoke.
Just waiting. His toes a little bit peeked out. It has come to the southeastern side, though, gifting it to LMV. Like, did Christmas come early because they just definitely got a present from the PUBG Mobile gods. We have RESQ, though, on the northeastern side, and they need to come down a little bit. They need to get some sort of knock or opening onto LMV. Tosses a nade. Looks like just a little bit too shy. TSC, that last player, did get found out, as this time Coyote throws a nade over his top, maybe just lick perks just a little bit. I didn't think it did quite that much damage that he was hoping for, but LMB, they're slowly aggressing into the circle a little bit more to cut off any sort of room for these teams. XTEAM, last one, taken out by Tick from RESQ.
Doom have got the high ground, but have got the least players on their team right now. RESQ and LMV looking for that first place, and LMV absolutely need it. This could be a massive turnaround for them if they can find it. They've got the advantage. They've got the kills as well in their pocket. If they can mop up a couple more and take that winner, it's going to be big for them. But RESQ not going to go down quietly, neither are Doom. And LMV do find themselves in a pretty horrible ditch right now. Doom have that high ground, but Zero's been knocked and his only Action left up. Action's going to look to try and reposition, but he's going to get sprayed. He's going to get himself taken down as well. It's actually Doom going to get taken the flush there. Lovely little finish up there by Coyote. And Doom, only one player left. Action trying to heal himself back up. Wasn't completely knocked, but got very, very close to doing so. As Coyote flanking around the top side of the ridge here. Should be able to find himself a nice position, as LMV are in a pretty horrendous position as far as the low ground goes. So nades are just going to get thrown downhill towards them. And Action just going to try and be a thorn in the side, try and see if they can find it. But there's a couple of members of RESQ being knocked. Talon actually doing a lot of work here, looking for the second, not able to do so. And just like that, RESQ are eliminated. Talon coming up huge, and only Action left. He's got a few meds to keep himself topped up, but it's LMV with multiple members. We picked them up at the beginning of yesterday, and they're looking to find that winner chicken dinner. There it is, LMV coming up huge in the 4th map of the day.
Our last place team has now gotten their chicken dinner with a hell of an amount of kills. And I think for Doom as a solo, the best case scenario was he meds off or he just stays over there. Perfect scenario for Doom. And just to have, Talon was able to get 3 pieces. RESQ, the downfall there was, they didn't really have any room, but all 3 of them were literally standing on each other's toes, and it just kind of made it a little bit too easy for Talon just to come over, get a knock, switch over to, I think it was the M249 with the 4 times on it, and just finish them all out. So LMV, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the LMV that we've been waiting to see all qualifiers.
To be honest, Miramar seems to be the map where everything gets turned around. Let's look at the standings and see how many points were accrued at the end of this. But Miramar definitely has been that map that has done, wonders for some of these bottom teams. LMV earning 26 points. Massive for them. Doom have honestly had some really, really good and consistent back-to-back games. Same for RESQ. I just want to go back down to the bottom side of the table, though, because there are 3 names who are not in here who have been consistently placing low right now. That is Shockwave, that is Panda, and that is Storm. It has been a bad game, day 2 for these teams.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, man. This is it's exciting, right? It's not as if we just had one front runner team the entire time. It's okay, they got us in the bag. Let's focus on the rest. This is definitely hey, we got our frontliners from yesterday, and for some reasons, day 2 they've kind of fallen off. Like the top 3, like you said, like top 3 from yesterday are all in the bottom standings of this game. And so Panda, for them to win yesterday's Miramar with an outstanding 16 kills, to then go into one of the first teams out with only 1 point of placement and only 2 kills to show for it, it definitely shows that, you know, this is the battle royale. Anything could happen. The actions of one team can directly affect another team right on close to them. And LMV, they were the ones to take advantage of that and win out Miramar. I know they're celebrating right now. 5 kills from Talon, 5 kills from Perks, and then 1 kill from Lou to make it the 11 kills that they had from that game. Just amazing stuff for them.
Miramar continues to plead the upset map. It seems to shake things up every time. I'm curious how this is going to kind of affect momentum going into Erangel in our final map of the day. But for now, we're going to cut to a break and we'll be back with that game number 5 in a moment. So we'll see you in a second.
See you.
welcome back to the PMPL qualifiers. We are going through onto our 5th and final map of the day. I know it's sad, but we'll be back tomorrow, don't worry, with even more action. But we still got one more to go. Monica, we finally ended with an LMV win. We've been expecting this since the beginning of yesterday. A lackluster performance for the last few days, and then they just came alive at the end of that game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I even messaged them in the break and I was like, finally, like, you guys got to win. Like, we've been like hyping you guys up and we look like fools because we're like, oh, like LMV. And then like it hasn't happened quite yet. But glad they're able to do it in day number 2, match number 4, Miramar last game. Let's hopefully they can keep that ball, that momentum running, and they're able to maybe do well for this next game. But another team to kind of highlight was Doom. They won a game. They got 2nd place this one. Like today, they've gotten 54 points. So every game that they've had, they're able to pick up some kills. You know, if they didn't win, if they didn't have a good placement, at least they still got like 7th with 4 kills or whatever. So they're at least putting like points on the board. So Doom is one that has definitely jumped up in the standings from yesterday as well. But yeah, let's go ahead, take a look at the overall standings sorry, not overall standings, but let's go ahead and take a look into this match soon, and then be able to see like the final results of the overall standings after this match.
I think Doom and RESQ are really shaking up the top end right now. I think with Storm, Shockwave, and Panda, pretty much, other than like Storm won the first game, but like outside of that, it's been a pretty lackluster set of games for those 3 teams who are our top 3 beginning today. RESQ and Doom were in an okay place, but suddenly they have like shot up the rankings. Clearer are dive bombing from the top. They've been consistently getting 1 or 2 points when yesterday they really started to find their form towards the end. You now got LMV finding a win. I don't want to be like, right, that's it, they're on form, because it's only 1 game. And, you know, it's Miramar, and we only get 1 more Miramar for this whole tournament now. So, but there are teams like kind of finding their form, coming alive. We're seeing some of the bottom teams start to pull up a little bit after some pretty good games. And this might be the worst playing path we've had for the entire tournament so far, actually. So, you know, ending on a bang, I guess.
Yeah, it's very, very far southern. The pilot was maybe drinking a little bit too much last night and is now veering off course. And these teams that go on the northern side, like where's Panda gonna go? Up in North George? I guess I could find a car somewhere, drive all the way up there. We might see Conqueror. They kind of alternatively drop in Gakko when they can't make it all the way up to Stauber/Kameshki. But yeah, we'll see. But it's not important, or it's not just important to look at the playing path. It's also important to see where that first circle is, and every one of these teams should be keeping in mind, you know, where is the playing path, where is the circle, and where are these teams going to probably end up or have to rotate, and let me pick the best position for me and my play style to get as many points in the game.
I'm interested because, you know, we've not actually seen a circle close on Panda. We've always seen them hug the edge, and that's because typically their drops are towards the edge of the map. But it would be interesting to see how Panda fare on a circle that lands on them, you know, if they're the ones that get to buckle down, because we haven't seen that out of them. It's been, you know, very different style from them in that sense. Does look like Panda are still heading northward, but the circle is just off to the northeast of the top right-hand cut side of the map. So, are Panda actually going all the way to hospital? I think they are.
I think they're definitely not making North George from there, so they're gonna have to be going for some cars. But they might end up, and you see that one player from RESQ and a couple players from Team Panda, they're going for the exact same car spawn in the garage compound right there. You might see a little bit of scuffle from them. And we saw RESQ. They lost a player early last game. Panda, they seem to. It looks like if they can keep all 4 to the end, they're in high gear to close out that game with a win. If Panda loses members early, they tend to. This is any team, but any team that loses players early usually doesn't have that firepower to close out the game as well. But this circle and this playing path combination reminded me of just Miramar that we just saw, wasn't it? Just like a pretty southern playing path, and then it went way up to the northeast, and we saw LMV. I think they were really good in that. They landed up in Campbell Militar in the northeast section. And I'm seeing Shockwave do kind of a similar, like they're going to be up in that northeast section as well, away from all these teams. I'm thinking Shockwave. I mean, this is probably way preemptively to tell, but I'm thinking Shockwave may have a good game this game.
Ooh. Phantom is kind of isolated, and the Sharks are circling the water, so to speak, as Panda are collapsing multiple members, and Phantom well aware of the fact that Panda are nearby. We'll see them pull up. I don't think Panda know exactly what building Phantom is in, although they seem to be pointing their guns in that direction, so I've got a pretty good feeling they know where they are.
They saw the one parachute come down, and what they're doing is perfect. They're together, clearing out the buildings. You never want to be like, hey, you take this building, I'll take this building. Because when you have somebody like Phantom with a DBS with the 14 bullets in it, you hate to see a DBS. Like literally most hated gun in the game because of it. It's just so shredded in close quarter combat. But looks like Panda, they see the support coming from Team Conqueror, able to find one in that did crash up on the backside of the building, taking the shots at Itachi as he's rolling away. But Phantom now, the pressure is on him. They hear the footsteps now, Panda, so they kind of have a general idea of where he is. Phantom caught out, and this is not a great start for Conqueror, who did win the last Erangel game. So right now they're what, down to two? Down to two.
Down to two. That is a very, very rough start for Conqueror. Tried to come in and save the day, got knocked in response, and lost 2 members for it. So Itachi just gonna head out after try and play maybe a bit of a placement game, maybe a little bit of a mop-up game, try and find the fights, but just gonna get himself inside that circle and move to a bit of a safer zone for the moment.
Yeah, Itachi just he's like, back to the drawing board, you know. And this was a team that did make a little roster change from yesterday. Yesterday had Xana playing and now replaced. So this is them along with Blast, along with 5 threats. Have a little bit of a different shakeup going on for today. LMV, our winners from yesterday, we got them in good old Primorsk, but I mean, they did. I believe they probably moved up a little bit in the overall standings from their win, but I mean, they're gonna have to do that a couple times over to make it into top 8.
Yes, they definitely need. That was a great performance. Now they need to do it again, and maybe again.
And do it again.
Like they need to
and again
perform well now. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle for them, and you got 6 games left, including this one. And then that is it. That is the qualifiers done. So top 8 is probably the best LMV could hope for. I don't think they can go for ego placement now and try and get like a good score and get like a high points, unless they have an absolute corker and win every game tomorrow. Then in which case, yeah, maybe they can. But they're probably just looking to go, all right, let's try and repeat that. Let's try and get decent placement, decent kills, and just aim for that top 8. Get yourself into 6th. That's a pretty comfortable spot to be in. Have to keep our eyes on that, and we'll see an update on, how they're doing a little bit later. But for now, it is Panda who are leading the charge after a pretty bad day. We're getting those 2 kills onto Conqueror.
Yeah, so good start for good for Panda, bad for Conqueror. But Savage here, they're one of those teams like right on the cusp of that qualifying spot. I think they're just like right hugging that like 6th through 9th place-ish area. Blast, remember we had so this is like a repeat of last time. We had Snowix and we had Razor actually dropping in directly into the middle of Noble crates. Where's Swat 69 was this time, I guess, sending the other half. Maybe you guys will have a little bit better. Like they literally sent the other half of their team here, camping actually at 69. So this is their purpose. They jumped up a little bit higher, not quite in Noble, waited for it, because that's literally every team. If you drop Noble, like in Classics or anything, you drop down the crates, you come up to this compound up here, go for all the vehicle spawns, and then you rotate from there. They knew this was gonna happen. So I think this is like this is like a little revenge. This is revenge. The sequel of the previous Erangel game.
They really are.
Part 2.
Snowx got that lovely high ground, can keep the team safe as Nemo's just going to smoke the place out and look to heal up and maybe make an escape without getting sprayed too much. As PNL getting sprayed from the other side of the map. Well, not the map, from the other side of the hill. As Blossom, they want to continue the pressure they've been able to build themselves right now on to SWAT 69, who have, you know, like you said last time, bullied them out of the place. Looks like SWAT are going to they're just going to call it. They're going to say, right, we lost this. Let's just leave it.
Actually, these two teams, I believe, are the bottom two teams on the standings. So I think this is even more for them. Like, hey, I don't want to be the bottom place. Like, these might be some like kind of easier pickings for me. If, you know, instead of going for like, I'm not gonna take a team fight with Panda. I'm not gonna take a team fight with like Shockwave, Storm Gaming, and be like, I'm gonna take a fight with the person probably right next to me on the leaderboard. It's probably an easier fight to have. And it looks like Blast is really capitalizing on this one. And I think it looks like it's just Coco Boy and then one of his teammates left alive. So sending 69 running for the hills as only a 2-man for the remainder of this match.
So we see Storm switch over the bridge and start to make their way towards that circle. We'll be closing in fairly soon. Storm are actually right up the tails of another team. I can't see exactly who that team is. I think it's LMV. So they'll be right behind them, which, yes, it is LMV. As the circle closes, actually continues to be somewhat central from where we are now, but is heading in a northern direction.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Shockwave continue to, they're exactly what they're doing. They're going to the northwest corner, and this is what we see from Shockwave time and time again. They're so good at rotation. They're so good at looking at the circle, identifying this next circle. The playing path was way far south. They know nobody is on this north and northwestern side. That's going to be free for them to pick whatever they want. And it's the teams like 5T that I'm actually really surprised how late 5T is landing in Pachinki, that central position in the circle. Usually there's boom, go, like rotate into the center of the circle. So hopefully they can kind of meander around these teams and still find a good spot for them. But again, 5T, what they really need to work on is the defensive in the last parts of the game to be able to take those team fights and close out the game for a win.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Clear fairly close here to the Nameless, who actually have had some pretty good games today. They had a pretty rough start, but or at least a rough day one, but definitely starting to pull it back somewhat. Clear, though, a team who, you know, we really praised at the end of yesterday. Their last 2-3 maps were really, really crisp from them. You know, they didn't win, but they placed high. They had pretty decent kill counts as well, so able to accrue themselves a decent amount of points. Today, they have been disappointing, very disappointing to watch. So I want to keep my eye on Clear today, because if they go completely, they have 5 bad games in a row, tomorrow means they really, really have to get it together. Otherwise, it's just going to be a doomed day for them. It's going to be very hard for them to make it to top 8. So, you know, a good game from Clear is absolutely needed right now for this team.
Yeah, Clear, they started yesterday in 4th place. And I don't know the overall standings, but they've fallen just a little bit. Today, they've only gotten like 20, maybe not quite 30 points, somewhere around like 20 some points. It's really just across 4 games that you imagine. That's an average of like 5 points a game. That's really just not enough to be able to like safely keep their standings in the top 8 that you need to qualify for PMPL. But here we see 5T. Okay, so okay, I was a little nervous for their rotation because they had quite a few teams ahead of them, but they're able to kind of just swing wide a little bit into the Yasnaya fields, take the blue stacks out in the field. If the circle does end here, this is one of those powerful compounds to have, because as you can see, it's just open wide fields all the way around you. You got people hiding behind like a hay bale or something like that while you have the hard cover. So 5T, they like to take these compounds, but it's the setting up, it's the constantly watching and scouting, getting the information of where the teams are around you that they should have for the rest of this game that they need to work on.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it kind of harks back to, you know, 5 Threats amazing at positioning and rotating, but, you know, lackluster at defending that position that they've found. So have to keep our eyes on that. It could shift in a random way. The circle has been a little sporadic. It's probably the best way to word it. Panda doing what they do best and just keeping people out in the circle. They constantly like to stay inside that circle. Are going to close in, and we'll see where this final circle goes. Well, not this final circle, but the next major circle goes. And it actually shifts down heavily. So that's really going to force a bunch of teams out and make them move into a different area. I think LMV are currently locked in combat with another team as well. or at least a player from another team.
Across the water.
So, yeah. Oh, no, it's just a weird circle on one of the players. Okay, don't worry. I'm an idiot.
5T over-rotated. They should have taken one of those compounds across, like right next to Razak, across the water, but now because they didn't take it and they're going up to the gas station, Savage literally just had the most freest rotation of the century. It's hard to cross bridges, it's hard to cross water. Literally nobody anywhere around them to aggress their situation, but Savage, I think, because they landed Razak, they already knew the city was completely free, and that's why they didn't need that much scouting. They already knew, like, we came from there, nobody was there, we just go across the bridge. Savage now, they're kind of at the bottom of the top 8-ish pack. They should have a good game this game.
Yeah, they absolutely should. People started getting involved in some fights here. Five threats under fire right now within that compound, but they are looking just to head out, get away from here. The Nameless not going to let them go quite yet. It looks like 5 threats are going to be able to vehicle up and get out of here.
5 threats. Okay, so they didn't take quite the Yasnaya bridge, but still, it's like this team that usually plays central is now taking a little bit more of an edge positioning off to the side. I think just being kind of playing a little bit more passively. I think they knew that, I mean, they were in like the top 8. They've probably fallen out of it by now. They're really trying to go for that more safe, kind of sitting away from play style. Team Panda over on the western side too, and I see them kind of rotating a little bit further north as they see Swat 69. Remember, this was the team that got taken out down, 2 players out in Novo crates on like the opposite side of this map, and they made their way onto the southwestern side of the circle from Team Blast. RESQ, so we call it Superman building. Because it's like red, blue, 3 stack right on the cliffside. You have massive vantage points down the entire bank of the river and all the way overlooking on the city of Razak. Shockwave just getting, actually, oh wow, actually, Shockwave kind of surprising here. They were the furthest ones from the edge of the circle. Somehow, all these teams on the northern side allowed them, maybe it's that there wasn't that many northern teams actually, but they allowed them to just ascend it into Razak and find their way into the city. As now we only have, I think it's just Storm Gaming, and then it is going to be Conqueror, the only 2 teams outside the circle, as we still have maybe about 10 more seconds before it closes one more time.
How did Panda keep doing this? They've just rotated from the north straight to the south. They're always getting away with it, and that circle is an interesting one. That's going to uproot a lot of teams, and we're closing on Razok/School right now. LMV in a good position as well. So there's a lot of teams who are going to be collapsing in, but there's 4 teams already inside the circle who are able to bunker down and maybe start to do some work as they get closer in. As let's say Panda are going to collapse in on the school and get set up here.
Man, I literally gasped again because like it's lifted right onto LMV. It seems like the more central play style for LMV works a little bit better for them rather than that dragging in the blue zone, kind of coming in at the 9th hour sort of thing. See, everyone rotate. Where is SV? SVG is focusing on the wrong side. They shouldn't be focusing on the backside where X team is. He should be seeing we literally had 3 teams rotate right on around. They could have farmed so many kills, but a little bit tunnel hold here. LMV now needing to defend from a full team of TSC. At this point, the other half of LMV need to come in and give some support to Perk, to all of the players in this red stack. And you see Hidan throwing the nade. This is good. This is how you defend. You throw the nades. You try to get a couple of knocks here. Marley a little bit of an off angle, though, as Albi just down below. Couple of fires from the Molotov, and Talon just up above. They do get the opening knock, though. Hidan with the Molotov on to Marley.
A very, very messy scrap here. Multiple teams very close to each other. Nades going through windows. They're trying to find the knock. Talon dodging away on every single grenade that comes down, as it looks like Conqueror are actually collapsing in as well, as an LMV looking for the knock, looking for the kill, able to find it. Perks finds the shot, and now LMV find themselves in a 2 versus a 1 versus 2 as far as teams go. This is a complete brawl right now, and TSC probably not even aware who they're shooting at. Meanwhile, Clear able to pick themselves up a couple of kills and take out some of the Nameless members, as Bunjo a little bit further away from the rest of the team is okay. has been knocked, but will get picked up fairly soon by one of his teams. And Bujo, how are you going to make your way out of this one?
Not really sure with this. LMV though, perfect defense though. They had kept TSC Legends down on the first floor. Broody though, he's figuring somebody's in that back closet. The Molotov though, it does do heavy damage. Brown now, Broody on fire, not in a good way, and he finds him through the window side. Sees one on the back end side, and he's getting shot in the back. LMV though, pushing as one. Talon knocking now Albie, and down goes Team TSC Legends. LMV though, they're playing so confidently right now. I'm loving this for them, and they're racking up 5 kills so far in this Erangel match in the best position in the circle.
That was a beautiful defense and a beautiful collapse from LMV. Like you're saying, central position definitely seems to suit this team way better, and it's like they're come alive. It's like an entirely different team are playing right now. They're very on it. The communication seems very clear, and the rotations are crisp, and defense is absolutely solid right now. Clear as well, a team who I highlighted at the beginning of this game has had a bad day, now starting to find a little bit of wind in their sails and starting to pick it up a little bit. We haven't seen much from Panda. They've got themselves locked down at school. They're pretty close to 5 threats, but they're going to get uprooted because these circles are just so sporadic. They're constantly changing everything. And it looks like Nemo just going to put some smokes down and look to try and get out of the building and away from all of the action as Panda locked down in the school right now. 5 thieves all in one building. Panda, they like to play blue, so they don't care. They're going to call for 5 threats on this.
Yeah, I think Blast Nash, he's in that wizard tower across the waterway. Somehow, so X-Team is crossing on the right side, clear being the trolls, literal trolls underneath the bridge and preventing them from having a clear rotation across. X-Team, multiple members getting knocked now. Is going to be Beg for Mercy on the top side. But we saw on the west side, RESQ just had a completely free rotation up in the north side of the island, or of this riverbank as well. And it's going to be LMV still on the southern side. Actually, everyone is heading towards the Wizard Tower. I think we're going to see an all-out brawl here between RESQ and Team X-Team as they fight for it. SVG sitting in their cars, sitting underwater, being just like, we're just going to be the creatures of the deep. We saw that last player from Blossom did get taken out from Team RESQ. LMV, though, still very prime positioning from them, keeping their eyes now on Storm Gaming, one of our top leaders in this lobby.
LMV very happy in that position they've got for themselves as well. They don't need to move. They can see the teams that are coming in, and we're going to get some spray off here as they see Storm, who've had a bad day, coming in, and here comes Panda just barreling through, getting themselves into a compound, and they're getting heavily chipped down. Already 2 members go down just like that. Panda lost 1, knocked another one. That was just maybe a little bit too cocky from them because they really paid the price.
Yeah, it's so hard to send it in the middle of the circle where it's so congested. Look, they sent it and they had like 5 teams all of a sudden turn their attention on them and start shooting at them. Yeah, this is the risk of sending a city because the circle usually does tend to shift off. Doom now under fire, the team that we saw be so dominant today as we lose Team X-Team on the north side of the river. Doom, 2 players left alive. Action and Mert as a grenade does blow up in their faces, but it looks like they're going to be able to get the revs off, giving the pats on the back to their teammates, and they're just hanging on for dear life on just the very edge of the circle.
Just about, as I haven't really talked too much about Most Wanted because it's been pretty quiet from them. They're just buckering down and holding on for some placement points right now. There's still a lot of teams left. We've got 12 teams in the running.
12.
The circle's going to close again. Oh, wow. These circles are really messing with these teams. No one is particularly set up in them. So everybody's going to have to look for the rotate here. It looks like Team Doom going to rotate as a full unit. Try to get out of here, but we are seeing people going down. This is going to uproot LMV, who've been pretty comfortable this entire time. But it's really like a game of chicken. Like, who's going to move first? There's 5 threats have finally been eliminated from the lobby, down to 11 teams. Storm just trying to throw the nades through the windows, and they actually did hit Hadan there.
Yeah, just a little bit. LMV, at this point, it's like, you want to defend from Storm, but you also need to keep like your third eye in the back, just watching how am I getting in the circle. RESQ actually just took one of the best positions in the circle, heading the other side of the bridge on the other side of the river. You're gonna see some of these teams in their vehicles send it into the water. This fight is now a river fight right on the bank. There's maybe a rock. There's maybe, you know, you just have almost no cover whatsoever as we see Shockwave getting a knock onto Doom. All these teams in the circle now having to crawl over each other to try to get on in. Storm now looking to get on in. What was the thought behind this? Now, actually vaulting through the window, and LMV just kind of going out and chasing as Maniho tries to go for the flush, but LMV hidden with the cleanup, able to take Storm Gaming out in 10th position.
And the final member of Panda is being hunted right now by Doom. Sitting in the attic, going to try and throw the grenades down. Clear vision get taken out while we're watching this little bit of action. But Lang holding on. Talon being collapsed onto by Savage as well. As Team Doom lock themselves down in this compound. They've still got 3 members up. And I'm so worried about Panda right now because with 1 member in a pretty rough position, they're throwing the nades up. This should just be the end. Able to dodge away momentarily. Can he get the 1v3? That's the real question right now for Leng. No, he can't. Sprayed down. Doom will be able to get the kill. And that is going to be LMV also getting knocked out at the same time as Panda. We've got Conqueror, we've got Doom, we've got Most Wanted, we've got Shockwave, we've got RESQ, and we've got Savage left in this game. It is getting heated as this circle is forcing everybody just to converge. But there's so many players left. It's such a tight circle.
So heated in here. Somebody needs to turn the temperature down. We have Conqueror, the last player, still alive. He's in the water, just being so ever so quiet. You can hear the footsteps up above. That's going to be blood from RESQ. And RESQ, they still have all 4 up. RESQ a little bit robbed of their win from the last game where LMV Talon was able to get the 1 versus 3 against them. Maybe this is their redeeming chapter where they can possibly get some more points and potentially the winner chicken dinner. Shockwave, though, they got a really nice high upper ground, but the circle is on favoring that western side. So all of these teams on the east, they're going to need to get in somehow. That last player, Conqueror, was found out, though, as a play zone. The play zone did get a knock on one of the players of Team Doom. But this is getting so hot. This is getting so heavy. It's literally an open field for the circle.
It's going to force everyone out of their buildings as well because everyone's been locked inside for a while. And finally, they're going out to touch some grass, but they're going to get shot at if they do that. So it's going to be a little bit scary for some of these teams who are looking to step out. Most Wanted haven't really actually done much. They got 0 eliminations. They still got 3 players. So it's on them to try and find some kills because it's not just about placement. They actually need to get some elimination points as well to stay relevant if they want to climb out of that bottom 8 going into tomorrow's matches.
I thought it was Shockwave that was going to be ending up taking out Most Wanted, but RESQ from across the circle. This is so small now. Everyone can see the whites of their eyes. Shockwave now looking to take over the position from Most Wanted. Like you said, they've been pretty quiet. They're just kind of laying prone and letting Shockwave just push up onto them, using all of the utilities that they can. Seiko knocking multiple members of the team. It's going to only be ads left alive behind this blown up buggy as he jumps around and just literally steamrolling through these teams. Out goes Most Wanted in 4th position. RESQ, he sees Blood knock. They have a little bit of a higher upper ground, has the time to throw the smokes, but it's going to be Savage looking to get this chicken dinner in the bag. Blood, he's a little bit further out from the rest of this team, not quite close enough. What RESQ is hoping for is that Savage and Shockwave will focus on each other, but we got a contention of our top teams within the lobby going head to head to try to finish out this game.
And everybody has a full team as well. This is not like there's no man advantage problems to work against here. Everybody's got people up. People are going down real quick because Coyote finds himself the knock. Blinking health bars is going to have to just med in the smoke and hope that a stray bullet doesn't clip him. Looks like Savage going to be able to get the pickup. No, taken down before they can even get close. And Savage are eliminated. We're down to our final 2 teams.
RESQ, they've got the top upper ground. RESQ, or sorry, Shockwave just down below them. But again, Shockwave, they're so good at knowing when to push. The advantage, however, is RESQ. They're a little bit more spread out. They have the one more player than Shockwave does. They're just kind of staying on the defensive here, taking the heals up, the nade, the perfect nade to open up the fight. The RESQ, churning the tides into their favor. They know down below it's going to be only 2 more left alive. He gets the first knock onto Tech, still whipping out, peeking on out as Hype coming over, finds the last player, and that's going to be winner chicken for Team RESQ. Finally, our best team from Iran making a name for themselves with 13 kills.
Absolutely flawless day for RESQ, to be honest. They've had some really good games back to back, and that is going to do them a world of wonders. They were already in a pretty good placement, but when you have Panda and you have Shockwave and you have Storm having a pretty bad day, yes, Shockwave made it into the final 2 there, but like overall, it's been a bad day for our top 3 teams, and some of our other teams have had a really good turnaround today. So going into day 3, this makes things very tight still, and that's what's exciting about this whole thing is we still have a lot of teams who are going to be very close to each other. I don't think there's a single team who are technically out of the running yet as well. So it's going to be a really hyped day. Let's have a little look at the match standings and see how many points were earned at the end of this game before we get to talk about what actually this means for the greater picture. RESQ taking first with 28 points. They have had some big wins today.
They tied in kills, RESQ and Shockwave, but I mean these are 2 of our teams that we're just like we've been so impressed with. I know RESQ is our team that we have probably the most hype about. Just so much support from Iran, the best team from that country. There's so many support from the content creators from Iran as well, like Haro Gamers, like Soso the Best, Fifi2, even at so many more. RESQ is definitely the the shining team that everyone in chat is rooting for. Number 2 is going to be Shockwave as well. Very high performing team, and Savage too. But like LMV, they came off the back of the win from the last one. Still 10 points though, 9 frags. That's still a very impressive game coming out from them.
Absolutely needed for them. It's not going to be enough right now, but having 2 good games back to back is going to do you a world of wonders. Clear as well, slightly pulling themselves back out of the deficit they had dug themselves into over the day. Let's flip this over and look at the other side of the page and look at our bottom teams. Panda only earning 4 points, Storm only earning 2 points. That is bad. That is real bad for them. XTEAM as well, another team who were doing pretty good at the beginning of the day, haven't had that much of a great day either. So I'm excited to see what the overall scores are, because I genuinely don't know right now. And I think they're going to be really different from what we had at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, Blastem. Remember, we had Blastem in 69, Swat 69. They took their fights in Novo crates, and they both ended up like that bottom half of the standings. Blasting only got 2 points, and that was the 2 points that they had on Swat 69. So it's just like they're just kind of just like dragging each other down, like no points for either team whatsoever. But let's take a look at the overall standings now after day number 2. This is getting down to the wire, Hip Rain. Let's see where our teams end up.
RESQ are sitting at the top. No! 128 points. Shockwave above them. Panda have slipped 2 places at the end of today. Storm have slipped as well. XTEAM just clinging on at the bottom. And I am amazed that Clear Vision are still in 6th right now. This is tight. This is very tight, Monica.
This is, I mean, Panda, like their best game was probably that Sanhok, just, shocking, meting to the 2nd place. But we haven't seen what happened yesterday happened today. And now RESQ, they're now tying Panda in terms of the number of chickens. And it's, even though they have less in terms of kills, it's that placement that RESQ is able to. I think yesterday we had like, it was okay. And then today, RESQ has just been able to get so many points, 124 points. It's 7 points over 2nd place Shockwave, and making, I mean, Shockwave, they haven't moved in standing at all from yesterday. Panda down by 2. That's crazy. And then Storm Gaming from 3rd down to 4th, but Doom, they are one of the other kind of Cinderella stories, jumping up into 5th place.
Yeah, Doom, honestly, I mean, look at the kills. 44 kills. They've been farming like mad right now. Let's go to the other side, though, and see our teams who are trying to make it into this top 8, because it is Conqueror who are very close to that next spot. LMV have shot up the standings off those last 2 games, and potentially if they have another day where they can get some, some good wins under their belt, there's a chance that LMV could make it to that top spot. Most Wanted have climbed out of bottom, but they are still very low down in 14th, and Blastem Esports have to have an amazing day tomorrow now to be able to catch up. It has to be a superb day for them.
I love when the standings are so close together. That 8th place, that's that line, is XTEAM with 69 points. So it's still not, it's not safe to say like, hey, top 8 is top 8. We still have Conqueror. They're going to be only 6 points behind. And then we have LMV. They could have, that's literally one good game and some frags and XTEAM to go out a little bit early. That's only 11 points difference for them and 12 points for 5 threats. So it's really this kind of middle bottom pack. Just one good game or a couple can shoot them all the way up. But it's really, the pressure is on for, I'd say, LakoNostra, Most Wanted, Blastem, and Swat 69. They really, really need to have a great game for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, we've got a lot of eyes on a lot of teams. I think, obviously, Panda need to get their act together because today was bad. I think there's some bottom teams that obviously really need to look at what's going wrong, start playing more aggressively and shake things up a little bit. Great adaptation from LMV. If they can keep that up, top 8 is definitely within their grasp. I love that going into the final day, everything is so tight. It's going to be such an amazing day. But for now, that is going to be the end of our show here on the PMPL Qualifiers Day 2. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow for the 3rd and final day. So make sure you tune in. You don't want to miss it. Monica, thank you very much for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you guys later.